Hello to all my dear followers. Today I welcome you to the fourth chapter of What if Naruto is sent to the past with his powers and memories? Remember, if you want to support the channel and see more seasons, just like, comment, and subscribe. Let's begin.
Chapter 18, Naruto's Final Decision. Amigakure. Alright, time to investigate all this. Jeriah walked over to begin gathering information about the Akatsuki leader. In Konoha, come on Udon, it's not difficult. I know you can do it. Keep in mind that handling water is easy. Naruto's clone commented, and Udon said that I tried. Believe me, I tried, but I can't do it, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Naruto approached, saying, calm down Udon. To do this you shouldn't think too much. Water is something that flows. Be one with the water. Look at me. Udon began to watch him, and Naruto started, grabbing a portion of the water and molding it. Moving his arms, the water obeyed him effortlessly, while he also made the water flow over his body without wetting him. Then he finished by placing his arm towards the water, where it all ended. You see, it's easy, as I told you, you must be one with the water. Water is calm. It doesn't need to be a force that one lets manipulate to do harm. On the contrary, when one uses water, one can mold it to one's liking. Now try it as I did. Udon nodded, grabbing the water again. He did the same as Naruto, but there was a change. Udon gave it a different shape. In his hand a bow formed and in the other an arrow. He aimed at the tree and shot, causing it to stick into it. Naruto, seeing this, applauded. Well done Udon, you managed to shape the water and make the arrow have a pressure point at the tip. Good job. Now replicate the same until it feels natural to use it. Udon nodded and continued working to achieve it. Come on Moegi, you can do it. You must become one with the earth itself, because with that you can do many things. The wood element also comes from there. But before that, first there are the primary elements. Come on, I know you can do it. Moegi tried to mold the earth so she could perform some jutsu on it, but she couldn't. It's difficult, I can't do it. Naruto approached him and said, I understand that it may be difficult for you, but you must understand that this step is necessary. I will show you how it is done, pay attention. Naruto began to mold the earth, giving it many shapes, and then he commented. Moegi, understand this, the earth is what feeds the plants, nourishes them, Mother Earth herself. Thanks to that we can plant trees and they reward us with fruits that we can eat, or they also give us medicinal herbs. Water nourishes the earth and the earth nourishes the plants, trees, flowers, or anything that is planted. That's where the wood element comes from. By combining both we can make a plant bloom. Naruto grew a common plant. A flower dash. Naruto grew a pretty flower. A tree dash. Naruto grew a small tree. You see, nature itself gives us the option for many things, now you understand. Moegi nodded. Okay, now as I said, start with the earth, begin to mold it as I did, and when you finish we will see earth jutsus. Okay, begin. Moegi began molding the earth. It was difficult for her since it was her first time, but she was making progress. With the original Naruto, wooden element. For pillar house. Naruto created a house with medicinal things, looking at Genta and saying, people, bring Aerosin in here, treat his wounds. I'll heal what I can. Now let's go. Genta nodded. Naruto knew he had to save Aerosin. Whether he needed help or not, he would go there to help him. He wasn't going to let him die this time. Naruto wanted him to be there, to watch him progress with his life and see him become Hokage someday, and to be present at his wedding. In Amigakure, okay, you two, tell me everything you know. Jeriah captured 2 ninjas from Amigakure to extract information about Akatsuki. When he did, they only told him a little. One turned him into a toad, and the other used him to follow him and see where he went. In Konoha, let's see now if I can wind-style wind wall dash. Performing only 2 hand seals, Konohamaru created the wind wall. He achieved this thanks to the clones he had been practicing with. Now, with just 1 jutsu he managed to advance a lot. Naruto applauded him, saying, well done Konohamaru, now let's move on to the other jutsus. If you manage to finish everything today, tomorrow we'll do a review and then we'll look at offensive jutsus. Konohamaru nodded, immediately created clones and they got to work, while Naruto just stood there waiting. With Team Kakashi and Naruto, they were arriving at the area where Naruto indicated it was, but upon arriving they found very long walls. On one side they saw an entrance and saw the entire field destroyed. What happened here? Everything is destroyed, Kakashi commented, to which Yamato added. There was a big fight here, I don't know what happened, but what I can say is that something happened for all this to be like this. Kiba approached Kakashi and said, Kakashi-sensei, come and see this. Kakashi followed him and they saw an Akatsuki body there. Immediately they got the idea of what happened here. This answers the question. Naruto encountered the Akatsuki members. Seeing the wounds he managed to defeat him, Kiba can track Naruto. Kiba tried to follow Naruto's trail but was unsuccessful. There's no scent to track Kakashi-sensei, but there is Sasuke's. I know which direction he went. It's very strong. If we follow it now, we can find him. Kakashi nodded, took out his communicator and typed a message into Naruto's communicator. As he did so, he noticed something glowing next to the Akatsuki member's body. When he grabbed it, it was Naruto's body, and it immediately burned when he held it in his hand. Then a message appeared on Kakashi's communicator. Hello, if you found my communicator, it means you're reading this. I should say that I'm currently following someone, but I'll catch up with you later. Follow Sasuke. He fought 2 members of Akatsuki. I faced one myself, but he was very powerful. I barely managed to win. Even so, I'm following a new trail. When I finish, I'll look for you. Kakashi sighed. He knew that the only one who could stop this kind of thing was Naruto, since he created the communicators. Even so, he wondered how Naruto was now. He put that aside and commented, We'll follow Sasuke's trail, Naruto will be fine. He'll catch up later. Kiba lead the way. Kiba nodded and everyone started to follow him. Amigakure, I never thought of bringing you back, Conan. I thought you were dead. Jeriah had continued in the shadow of his prisoner. Then he noticed that the rain stopped and advancing a little further Conan appeared in front of him. Jiraiya-sensei, it's a pleasure to see you again. So it was you who detected Pain. If you didn't come to join, you're just another enemy of Pain's objectives. Jeriah looked at her and said, Conan, your origami has really progressed, you've grown a lot too. Now you're a beautiful woman. I see why they call you the Paper Angel. That Pain you mention is the leader of Akatsuki, isn't he? Conan, upon hearing this, half closed her eyes, then opened them, saying, Pain seeks what you desire, peace. If you have come to stop him, I am obliged to stop him now and finish you off. Jeriah smiled upon hearing her, immediately deducing that what she had said was true. Conan, I remember teaching you that you should always respect your elders. I must teach you a lesson now. Jeriah prepared for the fight. He knew he was facing his former student, but he wasn't going to allow them to continue down the wrong path. In Konoha, well done Udon, you've made progress in just a few hours. Now dispel the clones and let's see the result. Udon nodded and dispelled the clones. He felt dizzy and fainted. Naruto caught him and placed him under the tree, just waiting for him to wake up. 15 minutes later. Oh, what happened to me? I fainted, that's not true. Naruto nodded, approached Udon and said, Don't worry, it's just an effect of the shadow clones. It'll go away with a little rest. Now let's see the result. Shall we? Udon nodded, went to the lake and from there he began. Using his hand he grabbed a percentage of the water. He began to mold it without problems. Then he passed it to his other hand and continued. After that he created the same bow and with the water arrow he shot it. This time the damage was stronger. The arrow pierced the tree. Naruto applauded at that. Good job Udon, now you know about water molding. You must always remember that water is a river that will always flow. You must remain calm at all times. Now we will move on to the jutsus here. Naruto gave Udon a scroll with water jutsus. He received them without problems. Then continued. Okay, start practicing. These are defensive jutsus. Once you learn these, we'll move on to offensive ones. Create clones and begin. Udon nodded, creating clones and doing as he was told. He began practicing with the jutsus. Well done Moegi, you shaped the earth in a few hours, now do it with the clones and then we'll see the results. Moegi nodded, created the shadow clones, and everyone got to work. 10 minutes later. Good job, each clone has a different shape. Now I'll tell you this, earth is the basis of all vegetation. Now you're going to learn defensive earth jutsus. If you manage to finish today, we'll see more exercises tomorrow. Well, here. Naruto gives her a scroll with earth jutsus. Moegi accepts them without problems. Then Naruto commented, Now practice with the clones. When you finish we'll see all the effort. It's not dark yet so there's time, start. Moegi nodded and continued with the training. In Amigakure, there was a fight in Amigakure. Jeriah was fighting against his former student. It pained him to do it, but if it really caused chaos in the world, It was his duty as his master to stop it once and for all. You've progressed well, Conan. Your origami skills are on another level. I must say I'm impressed. Even so, I must stop you now. I won't allow Akatsuki to continue killing innocent people. Conan looked at Jeriah. It hurt her to fight against her master, but Nagato wanted this, and then she said, Jeriah-sensei, you cannot win a losing battle. Please surrender and I promise you a quick death. Jeriah chuckled as he listened to her, then commented, Conan, you've grown conceited over time, I see, but you won't defeat me. You say I've lost the battle, I wouldn't believe it. Even so, I acknowledge that you're strong, but you won't be able to beat me. A person appeared next to Conan saying, Conan, I came because you were taking too long. Jeriah's eyes widened. He recognized those eyes, the Rinnegan. He knew that only two people in the world had those eyes, Naruto and Nagato. Naruto was in Konoha, so the only one he could think of was Nagato. And Nagato, is that really you? So you're alive, and Yahiko, is he here too? Nagato looked at him, recognizing his sensei from years ago, then decided to speak. Jeriah-sensei, it's a pleasure to have you here. Given the circumstances, it seems you're against us, so I'm going to end this once and for all. Conan, stand back. I'll take care of our former sensei. And by the way, to answer your question, no, Yahiko isn't here. He died years ago. Jeriah understood the message and looked at Nagato, saying, It seems you strayed from the path, Nagato. I thought you would build a better world. I let you both mature on your own, but I see you took the wrong path. As your teacher, I have an obligation to stop you both. Nagato looked at Conan and she nodded. Then he looked at Jeriah and said, You're wrong, we will build a better world, we're going to create the perfect weapon for that. Jeriah frowned at that, then commented, That's why they collect the bijou, to use them solely as weapons of destruction. Nagato simply replied, No, with them we will forge a definitive weapon and we will be able to put an end to wars. Through pain and fear everything will end and there will be peace at last. Jeriah was stunned by that. Nagato wanted to make a weapon that would make everyone tremble and so fear. He looked at him and said, That's not peace, you'll only provoke more hatred among people and the chain will never be broken. You'll only extend it further. I realize you're truly beyond redemption, Nagato, so your plans will end here. I will stop you once and for all. Jeriah got ready to fight. Nagato, who was watching him, said, It seems you don't understand my ideals. What a shame, Jeriah-sensei, this will be your end. Summoning jutsu. Nagato summoned a reptile, to which Jeriah also prepared. Conan had withdrawn and only Jeriah and Nagato remained. Elsewhere, show yourself, Zetsu. I know you're here. Today you're going to pay for everything. Indra, who was next to Ashura, shouted. A Venus flytrap appeared from the ground, opened, and there was Zetsu. He commented, Indra and Ashura, how is it possible that you are here? You have been dead for centuries. I don't believe this, so I am dying of curiosity to know how you are alive. Indra analyzed it, looked at Ashura, who shook his head, then commented, That's none of your business. What I want to know is why you chose me and caused me to generate hatred towards my family. Zetsu smiled and said, There are things you don't know, Indra, but if you want to know, I chose you because you had potential. Even so, you didn't awaken the eyes I needed. Your Uchiha clan was special. So from the shadows, I manipulated everything to obtain the Rinnegan. I used your reincarnations, provoked the fights, and manipulated the stone left by Hagoromo. With that, the Uchiha fulfilled their role in my way. Neither you nor your transmigrants achieved what I wanted, but one of you did. Now all that's left are the bijou, and my centuries-old plan will be complete. Indra couldn't take it anymore and began to attack Zetsu, but he sank to the ground, appearing in a tree and saying, I'm curious about how the two of them are doing here. If I capture them, I'll be able to find out more. White Zetsu brought more Zetsus out of the ground with one objective, to capture them. Ashura stood next to Indra, saying, You inhuman beast, you manipulated my brother. You provoked unnecessary wars and worst of all, you caused Indra to abandon his happiness. Therefore now I will destroy you. Ashura activated the 6 paths Senjutsu and Indra had his Sharingan active. Zetsu smiled when he saw them. Hagoromo's sons fighting together, I didn't think I'd see it in you, I only saw it in the transmigrants, but now I understand something. One of you two trained the Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi, and there's no doubt about it because of the power that emanates from the boy. No matter, his capture will be soon, and with him, his bijou will be mine. With that, my plans will be one step closer to being fulfilled. Ashura, who heard him, said, "That won't happen, we'll stop you now and finish you off. Come on, Indra." Indra nodded, and together with Ashura, they prepared to fight. The white Zetsu attacked them. Ashura created a staff with his truth-seeking ball, and Indra drew his sword. The Zetsu tried to strike, but Indra, with his Sharingan, anticipated their attack. He then cut off one of the Zetsu's heads, and it fell to the ground. Ashura also attacked the white Zetsu, still unable to use his chakra due to his recent fight with Indra. Indra was in the same situation, so they were reserving their jutsu for any emergency. Black Zetsu, who was watching, thought, "I need to know how they are here. When I capture them, I'll be able to learn many things, and I'll be able to keep an eye on the Kyuubi's Jinchuriki. Indra is able to sense me. If I get close, he'll detect me. For now, I'll just wait for the right moment." Indra continued killing the white beings, then stood next to Ashura saying, "Ashura, we won't achieve anything like this, we must finish them off in one blow." Ashura nodded. He knew his brother was right, but he answered him, "We haven't recovered from the fight we had yet, our chakra is low. For now we can only fight this way, we must hold on. When we have reduced their numbers, that will be the moment." Indra nodded and, alongside Ashura, they continued attacking the white Zetsus. Black Zetsu, upon hearing them, smiled and said, "That's interesting, they're low on chakra, so the only option left is to weaken them, so it's time to increase your effort." White Zetsu summoned more of them. Indra and Ashura enlisted. It was going to be a long battle for them. In Konoha, Karinai was with Asuma. They were talking. "Asuma, you almost died on that mission, and you've only just arrived after all this time. Do you really care about our relationship?" Karinai exclaimed, to which Asuma replied, "Calm down, Karinai. There's an explanation for everything. Besides, you shouldn't stress. You're pregnant, and that's bad for the baby. I've been busy on missions, and only today am I free from everything. I'll be free for a week, so I wanted to take advantage of it to come here." Karinai nodded, then commented, "Next time let me know what you're doing. I was really worried. If you had died, I don't know what I would have done." Asuma la abraza consorla, luego comenta. "It's all thanks to Naruto, he managed to heal my most serious wounds. Now there's something I want to tell you. He knows about your pregnancy, so he told me to make him a promise, that he will take care of you, and so I will." Karinai was astonished by Asuma's words, then commented, "I understand, I should talk to him later. I have to thank him for what he did." Asuma nodded in comment. "He's on a mission now, so he's not at home, but I should thank him too. If he hadn't shown up at that moment, the whole squad would have fallen." Karinai nodded, saying, "We should get some wedding gifts ready. Naruto and Hinata are getting married soon." Asuma was surprised by the information, then commented, "They beat us at that. How incredible. And when will the long-awaited wedding be?" Karinai shrugged, saying, "I don't know. Only that Hayashi says that when there's a month left he'll start handing out the invitations. So all we can do is wait. Also, after that we can see what gift would be perfect for the two of them." Asuma nodded, then commented, "Now what I'd like to know is what our son or daughter would be like. I'm very curious about that." Karinai simply replied, "Soon, Asuma, for now let's just wait for the moment, so let's start planning what the perfect gift for those two would be. How ironic, my two students are going to get married. I really waited for the day that would happen." Asuma nodded, and continued talking with Karinai about what gift would be perfect for them. In Amigakure, "Nagato, do you think this is okay? He's Jeriah-sensei, he took care of us, gave us a home and fed us while we were with him." Nagato possessed a Dujitsu, the Rinnegan. In his childhood, he used it to kill some shinobi who broke into his house, but it was because they had killed his family. After that, he abandoned his home and wandered aimlessly, always asking for bread to eat at each house, but they always refused him. On his journey, he met a dog. He became their friend and they walked together. During their journey, he met Yahiko and Conan, who offered him their friendship and taught him how to survive in the modern world. One day, they met 3 shinobi. One wanted to kill them, but his companion stopped him. He said he would stay with them to train them since the war happening at that moment was not the fault of those innocent children. He introduced himself as Jeriah. They went to a cabin and spent time with him there. While he trained them, he taught them teamwork and that they should never kill for pleasure, only to defend themselves or others. At one point, several ninjas attacked the group, and Nagato, in his fury, used the power of the Rinnegan. When Jeriah arrived, he saw Nagato's eyes and believed he was the child of prophecy. He spoke with Nagato, telling him that he must use the power he possessed wisely and that he could change the world with it. With that in mind, Jeriah began training them. This continued until the moment of parting arrived. When he left, they went their separate ways. Time passed, and Yahiko created Akatsuki. In order to bring a new dawn, time passed and they had recruited many people who followed their ideals. Hanzo the salamander eventually gave them his approval, which pleased the three of them. Time passed and a person appeared to them saying that Nagato was the reincarnation of the Sage of Six Paths. Yahiko expelled him from the place, to which the masked man said he would return. Later, tragedy struck. Hanzo betrayed them, capturing Conan only to have Yahiko die. Nagato refused to do it, so Yahiko himself used Nagato's kunai, which he had in his hand, and simply told him to take care of everyone. Nagato, in his rage, summoned the ghetto Maso and began killing everyone. Conan calmed him down. From that day on, they took a different path. Akatsuki had another objective: to change the system of the ninja world. Don't worry, Conan. This is necessary to change the world. When we finish here, we'll go after the Kyuubi's Jinchuriki. Then we'll seal it and continue with the plans. Conan wasn't convinced. At this time, she doubted many things: who the masked man was, why he was looking for Nagato, what that project he mentioned was, and most importantly, why it was necessary to collect the bijou. She had many questions but no answers to any of them. So she just sighed and said, "Nagato, whatever happens here, I will always be watching over you. That's what Yahiko would want. Also, I will only ask one thing of you. When everything is over, disband Akatsuki. We don't have to be in a fight that we are causing ourselves." Nagato was in a special machine that allowed him to move. He looked at Conan saying, "You know, I can't do that. When the ultimate weapon is completed, I have to be there to control it. Besides, Jiraiya-sensei isn't making it easy. Well, time to move on." Conan just sighed. She knew what Nagato was like, so she just nodded. "Come on, Gamaken, you must cover me for now. I can't let my two hands separate now. I'm preparing to summon the two great sages of Mount Mayaboku, so just hold on a little longer." Gamaken sighed, saying, "Okay. I'm a bit clumsy, but I'll cover for you now, just hurry up." Jeriah nodded. He knew that to summon the two wise toads he needed to concentrate, but in his current situation it was difficult, so it was just a matter of time before he gathered the necessary chakra to do so. With the original Naruto, "People, could you increase your pace?" People looked at him and said, "This is my current maximum speed. I'm still recovering from the previous fight, and even though you healed me, I still feel the pain, so this is the speed I can currently reach." Naruto nodded, then said, "I understand, Genta. We're almost there. When we're in range, we'll use the Aerosin. I have a mark on it, so with that we'll be able to arrive on time." Genta nodded, so he quickened his pace so he could arrive faster. In Konoha, Tsunade was calm until Shizune entered the office. "Tsunade-sama, there is news from Team Kakashi and Naruto. Apparently, Naruto encountered members of Akatsuki, fought one and defeated him, but now he is following the trail of another. I've tasked the others with tracking Sasuke's whereabouts while he continues pursuing another, who could be another Akatsuki member." Tsunade slammed her fist on the table, causing it to crack slightly. "Damn it, that kid's doing whatever he wants again. Now's not the time for your games, Naruto. Send Team Guy as backup, hurry, there's no time to lose." Shizune nodded and immediately went to do it. Tsunade leaned back in her chair thinking, "Naruto, I hope you're okay. Just don't do anything reckless, please. Elsewhere, come on, Ashura, we've reduced their numbers. Let's finish this once and for all." Ashura nodded. Indra charged lightning chakra and Ashura charged wind chakra. Wind style, wind dragon, lightning style, great celestial lightning. They both said, and in an instant all the white Zetsus were destroyed. Black Zetsu, who saw the scene, thought, "Damn, even when weak they are strong. It was to be expected of Hagoromo's children. Well, it's better to retreat for now. I won't be able to win this battle. Let's see how I can create a distraction to escape, I know." Black Zetsu caused white Zetsu to create more of them, and they surrounded Indra and Ashura at what he mentioned. "Although I'd like to talk, I have to go. I need to find out more, and now that I know you're here, I must accelerate my plans. I'll just say this. Nothing is going to stop my plans. Not when I'm so close to achieving them. Zetsu was about to leave, but Indra stood beside him. You're not going anywhere, you're going to pay the consequences for using me and causing all this. Zetsu, upon seeing him, had to dodge the attack. You're really annoying, Indra. Even so, you've already met my expectations, and now you're useless to me, except to find out how you got here. If you keep getting in the way, I'll have to get rid of you once and for all. Indra did not listen and continued attacking. Ashura, who saw it, said, Indra, calm down. Attacking him without reason won't help. We need to think about how we can get rid of him. Indra didn't listen and continued attacking. Ashura grimaced. He knew how impulsive Indra was. Zetsu said, You should listen to Ashura. Like all your transmigrants, they are all impulsive. Now is the time to say goodbye, Indra Akatsuki. Zetsu tried to stab him, but Ashura stopped him, saying, The only one who will leave here is you. You won't hurt anyone else. Ashura tried to attack Zetsu, but a white Zetsu appeared, blocking Ashura's attack. Indra took advantage of the opportunity to finish off Zetsu. No one uses me for evil purposes. Die. Indra pierced Zetsu's chest, causing him to gasp in pain, or so he thought, as he immediately changed form into a white one. Zetsu appeared behind him, saying, Nice try, but you won't manage to finish me off that way. Disappear, Indra. Zetsu again tried to stab Indra, but Indra covered himself with his Susanoo. Zetsu said as he stepped back, The Mangekyo Sharingan, you are the only one unaffected by blindness, but your descendants are. That is a problem. Now I will leave, but remember, soon everyone will be under an eternal sleep. Ashura stood beside Indra and said, Your plans will never succeed, Zetsu. We'll finish you right now, Indra. Let's end this in one blow. Indra nodded, and they both combined their wind and lightning chakra. Zetsu, seeing the imminent danger, decided to leave immediately, but he couldn't because the attack was coming towards him. Seeing that escape was impossible, he tried to dodge it, but he couldn't. The attack hit, but Zetsu managed to separate from his white half in time, and they managed to avoid much damage. Indra and Ashura saw the disaster, but Indra continued to sense that presence, to which he commented, It's not over yet. I can still feel his presence. Stay alert, Ashura. We don't know where he's going to appear from. Ashura nodded and Zetsu appeared before them. What a great attack. It seems they have won this fight. If they had worked together like this centuries ago, they would have made a better world, but they chose to fight without remedy. What will they do now? Their chakra reserves are not eternal. Zetsu smiled as he said that. Indra and Ashura were tired from fighting and using their jutsus, but they decided to continue. However, a vortex appeared next to Zetsu, and a masked man appeared. Upon seeing him, Zetsu had to remain silent. If he said anything, he might reveal his plan, and that would be the last straw. Zetsu, what have you been doing? I've been calling you, and who are those two? Pointing towards them, Zetsu merely spoke a little. They're just trash I found along the way. Nothing more. Let's go, Madara. Madara nodded, and they were about to leave, but Ashura commented, Zetsu, you won't get away with this. You're gonna fall soon, and all your plans will fall apart. Madara heard it and looked at Zetsu, saying, Who is this Zetsu guy talking about? Zetsu looked at him and said, Never mind. Ignore it, let's go. I have to go see Pain to talk to him. Madara nodded, and so they both left. Ashura at that moment could do nothing. He had deactivated the 6 paths Senjutsu moments before, and Indra had deactivated his Sharingan. When he saw the guy, he said, Kamui, that guy has Kamui. We would have lost if we kept fighting. Well, it doesn't matter anymore. Ashura, what do we do now? We couldn't stop that guy, and he's probably going to do something different. Where do we go now? Ashura sat next to Indra, saying, Don't worry. There's still hope. Naruto can defeat him. We just have to tell him what happened. Indra was confused, so he asked, Naruto? You mean you're transmigrant? You think he can handle everything? Ashura nodded, saying, There are things I must explain to you, Indra. He received our father's blessing. He also has the Rinnegan, but he is more powerful. Furthermore, he possesses a power stronger than our father's. He can defeat him. With our help, we can assist him in facing Granny if the time comes. What I do know is that he must be on his way to meet the other one now. For now, let's dissipate so we can return to his mindscape. Kurama is waiting for us there. Indra was amazed by that, Then he said, Kurama, the nine-tailed bijou, how is he inside Naruto? I understand the rest, but it doesn't explain how Kurama is in him. Ashura chuckled, saying, you'd be surprised by everything new now. For the moment, let's do that, and then we'll talk to Kurama. Indra nodded, and they disappeared in a puff of smoke. Naruto's mindscape. Kurama, we're back. What are you doing eating that? Kurama, who looked at them, said, well, that's because two idiots started fighting. Well, for me it was entertaining to watch them fight, but I still need to know if they managed to stop that guy. Ashura shook his head, and Indra commented, Kurama, how you've grown. Tell me how you are in Naruto's body. I find it very difficult to believe that you're here. Upon seeing him, Kurama simply sighed and began to explain. Many things happened, yet they sealed me in Naruto, but I don't regret it. He's my friend and I'll always be with him. For now, you should tell Ashura about what happened. Ashura nodded and proceeded to contact him with the original Naruto. Naruto, I'm Ashura. I have something to tell you. Naruto heard it and said, what's happening, Ashura-san? Did you manage to stop Zetsu? Ashura shook his head. No, he got away. We couldn't stop him. I'm sorry, but next time we will. You can be sure of that. Naruto nodded. Don't worry, Ashura-san. There will be another opportunity for that. For now, rest. I have something to do now. Ashura nodded, and he and Indra went to rest. In Amigakure, dude, you should summon us somewhere better. One purple toad spoke, and the other answered. Come on, Ma. Jeriah-chan must have a great reason for bringing us here. Besides, it's something unusual. Jeriah-chan, you should learn to access Sage Mode on your own without our help. The green toad spoke, and the purple toad named Ma said, you're right, Pa. And boy, didn't you say that shape wasn't attractive to women? Upon hearing them, Jeriah let out a laugh, saying, you are right, Fukasaku-sama and Shima-sama. But there is a reason for bringing you here. It is because of my opponent before me. He is a former student of mine, and he also possesses the most powerful Dojutsu, the Rinnegan. I need your help to defeat him. Fukasaku and Shima were amazed at that. The Rinnegan, you speak of the legendary Dojutsu of the Sage of the Six Paths. Is that perhaps the child of the prophecy spoken of by the great wise toad? Jeriah shook his head, saying, no, it's someone else. For a moment I thought he was that boy, but he isn't. Even so, he's one of my students and he strayed from the path. So as his teacher I must stop him, and that's why I need your help. Fukasaku and Shima nodded. Then Fukasaku commented, and where is he? I don't see anyone here. Jeriah, not seeing him, commented, it's hidden in an invocation, a chameleon that makes itself invisible. We must detect it. Both toads nodded and got to work. 2 minutes later, how is it possible? 3 with the Rinnegan, something is wrong here. Nagato then showed 2 more who possessed the Rinnegan. Jeriah was astonished. Even the 2 wise toads who were with him were amazed by it. Jeriah did not back down and prepared to fight. Then he thought, Nagato, what have you become? With the original Naruto. Naruto held in his hand the book he once used against Nagato, the book entitled, The Story of a Brave Ninja. Thanks to that book, he managed to change Nagato. He knew he was different now. He put it in his pocket. He knew he might run into pain. The probability was very high. Naruto didn't want to fight him yet, but if there was no other way, he would. Now he had one goal, to save Jeriah. He just prayed he would arrive in time. We're not that far away, folks. Just a little further and we'll get there. Genta nodded and continued running. When they reached the point, Naruto commented, we're within range. I'll leave this here so I can send you to the wooden house. Naruto dropped his kunai on the floor and then they both vanished in an orange flash. In Amigakure, moments before. That concludes this. We defeated all 3 of them. Nagato, I hope you find peace in the pure world. Jeriah was about to leave, but another person appeared behind him, saying, didn't you tell me never to turn my back on the enemy, Jeriah-sensei? Jeriah couldn't react in time and an explosion occurred. Jeriah emerged, but with a missing arm. Kid, your arm, you're badly injured. We have to go. Pa, prepare everything for the retreat. Jeriah-chan is badly injured and won't be able to continue. 6 people appeared from the hole in the wall, and one of them spoke. This is over, Jeriah-sensei. Meet the god of this world. We are the 6 paths of pain. We are pain. Jeriah was stunned. The one standing before him was Yahiko, and not only that, he possessed the Rinnegan. He simply said, Yahiko, it's you. How is that possible and how do you have those eyes? Nagato, who was looking at Yahiko's body, said, Jiraiya-sensei, as I told you before, Yahiko died years ago. What you see is a memory of him. Now I carry his pain, so I'll end this once and for all. Jeriah observed everyone and recognized everyone. These are the ones I've fought and defeated before. How is it possible they're alive? And yes, I understand. None of these are Nagato. He was never here. I've discovered pain's secret. Nagato, who was observing everything, said, I see you're still thinking, I'm sure you've already realized it, but it's too late for that, way too late. A hand emerged from the water, grabbing Jeriah by the neck, and a bar pierced him, shattering his throat. Jiraiya-chan, hang in there, Fukasaku exclaimed, and Shima tried to help him. In Konoha, at the same moment, Tsunade was at her desk when a gust of wind knocked over a framed photograph of her former team that she had on her desk. She saw it and picked it up, noticing that the part where Jeriah was depicted had been torn. She just thought, Jeriah, I hope this isn't a bad omen. In Amigakure, Jiraiya-sensei, your story ends here, but don't worry. I will carry on your dream of peace in my own way. Jeriah was on the ground, impaled by 6 black bars. At that moment he remembered everything. His life, his sensei, his friends, his classmates, his students, and his godson. He knew that at some point he would face this guy. With his last bit of willpower, he tried to raise his hand. Fukasaku, seeing him, understood. Jeriah tried to deliver his message. But, Jiraiya-sensei, we know that it's not completely over yet. I thought your heart had stopped, but I see that's not the case. It's very resilient, but now I'll finish this. Another pain launched his hand in the form of a projectile to hit Jeriah, but an orange flash appeared in front of him. Using his hand, he deflected the attack, sending it to another place. Jeriah looked to see who it was, the person he never thought he would see at that moment. He could only hear his words. Aerosin, you've done enough, you protected me, and now I'll be the one to protect you. Naruto appeared to save Jeriah, turning to see his current state. Taking off his glove and throwing it aside, he proceeded to heal Jeriah enough so that he could move. Genta began to remove the black bars so that the wounds would heal immediately. When he finished, he lifted Jeriah onto Genta, saying, You know what to do, people. Genta nodded, then saw the 2 wise toads of Mount Mayaboku saying, Go with him, he will take you to a wooden house where there is medicine to treat your wounds. I have just restored your vitality for now, but you still need to be treated. Jeriah raised his hand and tried to speak, but Naruto grabbed him, stopping him and saying, You've done so much for me, Aerosin. Now I'll take care of this. I'll join you later. For now, rest, you'll need it. Jeriah looked at Fukasaku, who nodded, climbed onto Naruto's shoulder saying, You're Naruto-chan, aren't you? Jiraiya-chan has told us about you many times. Ma, please go to Jiraiya-chan and heal his wounds. I'll stay here and help Naruto-chan in his battle. Shima nodded, climbed on top of Jeriah, and Naruto approached. He touched Genta's head, and they disappeared in an orange flash. They reappeared where Naruto had left his marker earlier, and Genta immediately started running towards the meeting point. Shima, upon examining him, deduced who he was and then said, You're from the Wolf Clan, aren't you? I'm surprised that boy has a contract with you, especially since Mako is very strict with his summoners. Genta nodded, looked at Shima, and said, Possibly Wise Toad of Mount Mayaboku, but he has changed. Now hold on tight because I will increase the speed, lightning wolf style, electric dash. Charging his entire body with lightning chakra, he increased his speed to reach his destination. Naruto was with Fukasaku. He was looking at Pain when he said, Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi, I'm surprised to see you here. You saved me from having to go looking for you myself. Only you and the 8 tails are missing. With your capture, I will be closer to achieving peace in this world. Upon hearing this, Naruto replied, Tell me something, what does peace mean to you? Nagato, hearing it through Yahiko's body, commented, Peace is something that will only be achieved when we all understand each other. That's why I'm going to create a weapon with the bijou so that everyone will understand the fear of trying to provoke a war. Only then will everything end and the world will be free from the bloody battles caused by the 5 great nations. Naruto heard it, immediately took out his notebook and was thinking. Fukasaku just watched, curious about what Naruto was going to answer. After thinking a lot, he had made his decision. Sun Wukong's words were always running through his head. Flash, the moment you break your self-imposed chains, your full potential will be revealed and you will be unstoppable. My self-imposed chains are not like that. I have come to a decision. Naruto threw his notebook where he had everything written down. It fell into the water and began to sink, falling into a deep void where he would remain forever. Then he closed his eyes and took off his glasses, and from there he answered, "You may be right, peace would be achieved when we can all understand each other. But the way you want to do it will only bring despair and the chain of hatred will never end, so your answer may have some truth to it, but it is the wrong one." Nagato, hearing it through Yahiko's body, responded, "I see you share Jiraiya-sensei's ideals, that's interesting." Yahiko's body jumped to try to hit him, but Naruto held him with his free hand, saying, "I know that all 6 of you are not the original, so I will finish you all off." Nagato was surprised to learn that he knew none of them were the original, he thought. As he learned of this, Jiraiya-sensei told him, "No." His throat was torn apart. He couldn't speak. "Something is happening here. I must capture him immediately." Naruto threw Yahiko's body aside, and Yahiko recovered in midair. Naruto was determined. He wouldn't hide anymore. He was going to face all of this at once. Nothing else worried him anymore. He turned to where the 6 paths of pain were, broke the glasses he always wore to cover his eyes, and then began to untie his headband. The symbol on his forehead was exposed as he said, "You know who I am, don't you? You call me the Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi, and yes, I am, I won't deny it. Even so, I accept who I am. I accept what I have been before and what I will be tomorrow. I am Naruto Namikaze Uzumaki, son of the 4th Hokage Minato Namikaze and Kushina Uzumaki." She tied her headband on her shoulder and continued talking. "I am a shinobi from Konoha, the one who will one day be Hokage, and also." Naruto was surrounded by a very intense golden aura, just like Sun Wukong. Fukasaku, who was on his shoulder, watched him, feeling Naruto's power growing at an exaggeratedly rapid rate. Then it happened. Naruto accessed his 6 paths sage mode. But there was a difference. Then he opened his eyes, showing his Rinnegan, and continued speaking. "I will be the one who protects this world, like the second wise man of the 6 paths." Nagato observed everything. That shape, that power, those eyes, it can't be that boy really. Naruto was in his 6 paths sage mode. Wukong, who was observing through his staff, thought, "I wanted to meet you, Naruto Namikaze Uzumaki, the new sage of the 6 paths. You managed to free yourself from your chains. Now show all your power, since you forged your own destiny." Fukasaku, who was beside him, was astonished by what he saw. He had heard about the Sage of 6 Paths and that someone with his power would always emerge who would bring harmony and peace to the world, or chaos and destruction, and now it was right there in front of him. Naruto was using chi. He decided to forge his own destiny. Chi, a universal power achieved only by beings who are one with the world, is said to be possessed only by those with the power of a god. Naruto, by freeing himself from his self-imposed chains, managed to awaken his full potential, forging his own destiny, accepting who he is and what he will be in the future. Thanks to this, he had forged his own destiny. Naruto's Rinnegan changed to gold, and 3 more tomo appeared in both eyes. Having 9 tomo, the symbol on his forehead changed color to gold, and 9 more tomo formed. He held his 6-path staff. He was ready to fight the dangers that would arise from now on. He no longer cared about what he knew. He was going to face everything that came. He was going to avoid everything that happened before. Naruto's face changed. His protruding fangs disappeared. Now he prepared to fight. Raising his staff, he created 5 Rasengan, and these began to change, blades appearing until they formed. Preparing his attack, he said, "Wise art, wind style, multiple Rasen Shuriken." Launching his attack, One Pain positioned himself in front. It was the Preta path. He prepared to absorb the power, and when it impacted, he began to absorb it, but in a yellow flash, Naruto appeared behind him, ready to strike. But the other Pain, the human path, lunged forward, leaping. Naruto saw him and with his gaze held him in the air. Nagato, who was watching from his human path, saw a shadow identical to Naruto holding him in the air. Naruto brought his staff close, touching the human path and causing all the black bars to come out of his body. The first path fell. Naruto charged at the Preta path, who was still absorbing the 5 Raisin Shuriken, but a giant centipede appeared beside him. The animal path had summoned it to attack. Upon seeing it, Fukasaku formed hand seals and fired a powerful, high-pressure blast, splitting the creature in two and dissipating it. Ignoring the Preta path, Naruto flashed yellow toward the animal path. The animal path attempted another summoning but failed. Naruto placed his palm on its chest, causing all the rods to fly away. The second path had fallen. Naruto noticed that he could use the Flying Thunder God technique wherever he wanted without needing markers, so he went to where the Naraka path was, appeared next to him, and with a kick sent him flying before he reached the wall. Naruto caught him, and just like the other two, he expelled all the black bars he had in his body. The third path fell. The Preta path ended, and Naruto, noticing this, went towards it, charging a Rasengan with his staff, saying, "Wise art, giant Rasengan." Hitting him in the back, he incapacitated the Preta path, grabbed him, and as the rest expelled all the black bars from his body, the fourth path has fallen. Naruto noticed missiles coming towards him, and with his staff he deflected them all without any problems. Then the Ashura path readied its head, firing a chakra beam. Naruto simply raised his staff, tilting it horizontally, and the attack hit but was absorbed. When it ended, he struck his staff on the ground, and a snake with golden Rinnegan eyes was summoned, coiled around the Ashura path and destroyed it. The fifth path was defeated. Fukasaku couldn't believe what he was seeing. Naruto quickly finished off all the paths. Only one remained. Using his staff, Naruto drew the 5 fallen paths to a single point. Then, in front of the staff, he was creating a red Rasengan. It grew rapidly. The heat it emitted was too much more intense than before. Then he prepared his attack, saying, "Sage Art, Fire Style, Giant Raiseninus," launching his attack where Pain's fallen bodies caused a huge explosion, which was even seen in the tallest tower of Amigakure. "Nagato, what's happening there? Tell me," Conan commented. Nagato said nothing. He was still in shock from everything he saw, that the boy he had to capture was very powerful, exceeding his expectations. Naruto slowly descended and stood in front of Pain Yahiko, saying, "That's it. End this once and for all, or I'll end it myself." Nagato said nothing, he just got ready for his attack. Shinra 10. It didn't end because Naruto kicked him, sending him flying. Using his staff, he stopped him in the air, pulled him towards him, and with a punch, he pushed him away again. Naruto once more stopped him in the air and pulled him towards him again, preparing an axe kick that sent him to the ground, burying him. Nagato spat out blood. The massive chakra consumption he was experiencing was now too much. Conan looked at him, saying, "Nagato, are you okay? Please stop this. You don't need to continue. Just stop this, please." Nagato said nothing, remaining focused on his fight. Pain's Deva path prepared a black orb. Raising his hands, he released it into the sky. Then he came out saying, "Chibaku Tensei." The black orb began to attract everything in its path. Nagato poured all his chakra into this attack. It was the most powerful he possessed at that time. Seeing this, Naruto spun his staff, gripped it with both hands, and slammed it into the ground. 5 Rasengan formed, swirling around Naruto, each taking a different form. The Raisin Shuriken, the Raiseninus, the Rasen Aquamarine, the Rasen Piku, and the Rasen Lightning. Then he raised his staff and combined the 5 elemental Rasengan. When they combined, a new Rasengan was formed. A giant orb surrounded by wind, fire, water, and earth, with pure electricity at its center. Naruto didn't know what it could cause, so with 4 Gudadama he launched them in 4 directions, and they turned into large bars that in turn emanated a white light, creating a barrier so high that it was impossible to see if it had an end. Then with everything ready, he looked at the Chibaku Tensei, saying, "Pain, this is my ultimate attack. With this you will see the great difference between us. Wise art, power of the 5 elements." Rasenulti. Launching his attack where the Chibaku Tensei was formed in the sky, this impact and the resulting explosion were so intense that the barrier was deforming. Naruto had emerged with his Flying Thunder God technique, and Pain emerged from the ground. The explosion was so large that the earth trembled, and it was felt in all the elemental countries. In Konoha, an earthquake which caused all this, Tsunade stood trying not to fall because of the tremor. All of Konoha was shaking. It lasted for a minute until it ended. Shizune entered the office saying, "Tsunade-sama, a huge spike of chakra was felt coming from a very far away. It has been calculated that it comes from Amigakure." Tsunade sighed, thinking, "Jeriah, I hope you're okay. I don't know what's going on there, but I just hope nothing has happened to you." With Team Kakashi and Naruto, "Everyone stop, we must stop now." Kakashi ordered. The tremor was felt and they had to stop. Yamato created a wooden dome for them to take refuge in. When he finished, Yamato commented, "Kakashi-senpai, who believes he caused all this?" Kakashi quickly deduced who it was. "That's obvious. He has powers beyond our imagination." Yamato understood instantly and nodded. Kakashi then ordered, "Let's keep going, we must advance until we find Sasuke." In Amigakure, Nagato was panting. He had used an excessive amount of chakra. Now he just stared at Naruto. The 4 bars became the truth-seeking balls again, deactivating the barrier. Then they returned to Naruto. Fukasaku was amazed, but he had deduced something. The boy he was looking at had no bad intentions. Quite the opposite. He intended to save everyone. Now he was in front of the last pain. He deactivated his 6 paths sage mode, and there was another change. When Naruto deactivated it, his eyes returned to their normal sky blue color. There were no animal features. Everything was normal. The golden Rinnegan symbol with 9 tomo was still on his forehead. Then he took the headband he had on his shoulder and tied it back on his forehead. After that, he formed a normal Rasengan in his hand and then lunged at the last pain. Nagato watched Naruto coming towards him. For a few seconds he saw in him his master Jeriah coming towards him with the Rasengan. He just murmured, "Jiraiya-sensei." Naruto impacted Pain by saying, "Rasengan." Pain felt the impact after a scream and was sent flying into the wall. Naruto finished off the 6th path, and after that he went to Amigakure with one goal: to reach Nagato and stop this once and for all. "Naruto-chan, where are you going?" Fukasaku commented, to which Naruto replied, "With this over, it's time to face the original Pain." Fukasaku nodded and Naruto immediately went to meet Nagato. Conan was staring at Nagato until Naruto appeared. Conan immediately wanted to attack him, but, "Conan, stop." Conan looked at him and he continued, "Okay, you're no match for him right now. Sometimes the strong come to scold the weak. Tell me, how do you plan to face a war if it happens now? How will you find peace?" Naruto took a book out of his pocket titled, "The Story of a Brave Ninja." I look at Nagato saying, "Wars cause many things. For peace to be achieved, as you said, we all need to be connected, and with that, everything would end. But you wanted to cause more pain, and that's not peace. It's true that there's a chain of hatred forged over years. As for an answer about finding peace, I can't give you one because I don't know, but I do know something. My master Jeriah entrusted me with finding that answer, since it was thanks to this book that I was given the name I have now. So what I can tell you is that if such a thing as peace exists, I will find the answer no matter how long it takes. If a war breaks out, I will stop it myself because just like you, I wish for peace to become a reality and for us all to live in a world where wars no longer occur and where people live their lives peacefully." Nagato was surprised by Naruto's answer. Then, after thinking, he said, "I see, so that's your answer. It seems I can trust you. Wars bring pain, hatred, suffering, and other things. You'll face all of that, Naruto. Your generation doesn't know how terrible war is. But I know you can find the answer to all of it. I pass on Jiraiya-sensei's dream, mine, and Yahiko's to you. I know you can find the path to peace." I look at Conan saying, "Conan, I'm going to disband Akatsuki. Our purpose is over. I'm not going to cause an unnecessary war, so it's all over." Naruto smiled when he saw that Nagato had changed. Fukasaku, seeing all that, could only think, Naruto-chan, you really are the child of prophecy." The 2 students of Jeriah-chan talked. Everything happened as the great Toad Sage predicted. Flashback. "Jeriah, I had another dream. Please pay attention." Jeriah nodded and the great wise Toad said, "In my dream I saw 2 people talking. You were there too, Fukasaku. They talked and the ninja world will change because of it. I'm telling you this because Fukasaku must have some connection to you, so possibly one of them is the child of prophecy. Stay alert, Jeriah." End of flashback. Fukasaku smiled as he saw what the world would be like now with Naruto. Conan said upon hearing this, "Okay, Nagato, then we need to tell everyone that Akatsuki is finished." So, it didn't end because another voice was heard. "I'm afraid that won't be the case. Now I'm going to reclaim the borrowed power." Zetsu appeared behind Nagato and in one swift motion ripped out his eyes. "Nagato! You damned servant of Madara, you gouged out his eyes." Zetsu smiled upon hearing her. Then he saw Naruto and he was with a toad from Mount Myaboku. "I see, Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi, so you defeated pain with the sage art of Mount Myaboku. Although I would like to talk, I must go. Madara will know about your betrayal. Akatsuki no longer belongs to you. Now I'm leaving. Goodbye, knights. I have to attend a fight that will take place elsewhere." Zetsu left a long time ago because Naruto was already charging a Rasengan. It just hit the wall. "Damn it, Nagato. Calm down. I need to take you to the doctors." Naruto extended his ability to sense chakra, and not sensing Zetsu, he sighed and approached Conan, saying, "Leave it to me, Conan. I'll heal him." Conan nodded. Then Naruto placed his hand on Nagato's face. Then a golden glow surrounded him. He began to heal. His wounds closed. His legs began to heal. The bars on his back disappeared and the wounds formed by the bars closed. When he finished, Naruto raised his hand, saying, "How are you, Nagato?" Nagato opened his eyes. They were a normal violet color, his original eyes. Then he answered, "I'm fine. Thanks for healing me. I didn't expect Zetsu to appear like this. Well, it's done now. I no longer have the Rinnegan. He took it from me. He'll probably gather the remaining Akatsuki members. Conan, please help me up." Conan nodded, stood beside Nagato to help him stand up. Then Naruto said, "You're not safe here, that guy will probably come back. Come with me, I can take you to Konoha and you'll be safe there." Conan, upon hearing this, said, "We can't. What will become of all the people of Amigakure? They won't be able to live alone." Naruto smiled and said, "No problem, I can take them all, but for that I need to do something, they trust me." Conan and Nagato nodded. Seeing them, Naruto began to enter Six Paths Sage mode again. His golden Rinnegan with 9 tomo was seen once more, and then he began to float up to the sky, thinking only of himself. "This will be temporary. I hope you understand. I have something special for Conan and Nagato. Someone wishes to speak with you." Infinite Tsukuyomi. The light reflected throughout Amigakure. Those who saw it were still. In their eyes, the golden Rinnegan with 3 tomo was reflected. In Nagato and Conan it was the same but with 9 tomo. After a few seconds, Naruto finished. Every child, man, woman, and animal in Amigakure was under Naruto's special infinite Tsukuyomi. He went back down to the ground. Fukasaku, seeing this, asked, "Naruto-chan, what did you do to all of them?" Naruto replied, "They are under my special genjutsu while I move everyone to where Aerosin is. It will take a few seconds. Good to it." Striking the ground with his staff 3 times, everyone left in a yellow flash, Amigakure becoming a deserted city. Nagato and Conan were in a place that was all black. There was a bonfire and a person was sitting there. They both approached and Conan asked, "Excuse me, do you know where we are? We were in Amigakure before, and now we're here." The person turned to look at them and Nagato and Conan were astonished and shed tears. The one standing in front of them was Yahiko. "I've been waiting for you both. Come sit down. Let's have a chat." Nagato and Conan nodded and sat down. At that moment Yahiko began to speak. "I know you have questions, but there's no time, so I'll tell you this. I've been watching everything, and all I can say is that you're both idiots. You let yourselves be led astray by that masked idiot. He used you, and for what? You tarnished Akatsuki's name, caused disasters in other nations, and now you've handed everything to them on a silver platter. Oh well, it doesn't matter. In the end, you repented, and that's fine. The only thing I ask is this. You can fix all of this. Fight them. You can still do that, and apologize to Jeriah-sensei. I hope you'll keep my word." Nagato and Conan nodded, then hugged Yahiko. It was Conan who spoke. "Yahiko, that day it was my fault. If I hadn't let myself be captured, maybe you wouldn't have died." Yahiko comforted Conan, saying, "Don't worry, Conan. It wasn't your fault. You couldn't have predicted that it would happen. So forget about it and focus on what's ahead. I know you'll be able to get through this. Conan nodded and Nagato commented, Yahiko, that day, if only I had known how to control my powers, maybe that wouldn't have happened and we would have moved on. Yahiko comforted Nagato, saying, Nagato, calm down. Whether you knew how to control your power or not, it wouldn't have made much difference. That day I made my decision, you don't have to blame yourself for that. Now you must know this. Even if you no longer have that power, it doesn't mean it's over. You can still move forward. I know you can do it. Now the time has come. Yahiko stood up and started walking in another direction, then stopped, turned his head, and said, I'm glad I was able to talk to you all again. Now I must go. I trust you can help him change the world, and please give my regards to Jeriah-sensei. See you later. Yahiko left Nagato and Conan at the campfire. Then a light illuminated the area and both were blinded by it. Nagato and Conan woke up somewhere else. There were Naruto, Fukasaku, Shima, and Jeriah. When they arrived, Naruto asked, How is Aerosin? I imagine he received the necessary medical treatment. Shima nodded. Yes, although I'm not an expert at this, I managed to heal their wounds, so it was all over. Naruto nodded and Fukasaku commented, That's right, Ma. It's all over. Naruto-chan managed to defeat pain. You could tell just by his new appearance. Shima nodded. I see, Pa, so he's the child from the prophecy. I wasn't expecting that. What's next? Naruto brought his staff closer and touched Jeriah. A green aura surrounded him. In an instant his wounds healed immediately and his lost arm regenerated. Both Fukasaku and Shima were amazed at that. Jeriah opened his eyes saying, Where I am, is it perhaps heaven? Naruto shook his head, saying, Aerosin, you're not dead. I managed to get here in time to save you and don't worry. It's all over. Besides, Nagato and Conan are here. Look at them. Jeriah turned around and there were his former students, Nagato and Conan. They stood in front and knelt down, saying in unison, Forgive us, Jeriah-sensei. Jeriah was amazed at that. He looked at Naruto, who nodded, then looked back at the two in front of him and said, Nagato, Conan, you two committed an unforgivable crime. You threatened the life of the world, and not only that, but many lives were lost because of it. Yet you are asking for forgiveness, and that is enough. I hope you can make amends for your actions. You took the wrong path, but you wish to remedy your mistake, and I accept that. Nagato was the first to speak. Jeriah-sensei, I tried to kill you, yet you forgive us for that. I will truly do my best to make my forgiveness known. Jeriah put his hand on his shoulder, saying, Nagato, at that moment you were blinded by everything, yet now you are asking for forgiveness for everything you did. You will be able to prove it later, and Conan, the same goes for you. You are asking for forgiveness. Both of you took the first step. Now I know I can trust you again, Naruto. I thank you for bringing my two foolish students to their senses. Now we must return to Konoha to inform Tsunade, and you two will accompany me. Nagato nodded and Conan said, What will happen to Amigakure? Everyone is still there. Naruto commented this time. About that, come follow me. Nodding, they followed Naruto to another house, and there were all the citizens of Amigakure under the infinite Tsukuyomi. Naruto commented, Here are all those who lived in Amigakure. I brought them here because there would be no reason for them to be there. I was thinking that they could all go live in Konoha, since they have nothing to do with what happened. Now they are under a powerful genjutsu and only I can wake them up. The only reason I didn't do it was because you need to talk to them, convince them, and then Aerosin can talk to Bachan so that she accepts them. Jeriah nodded. Conan commented, I can do it so there won't be any problems. For now, do you think you can wake them up? Naruto nodded, but before commenting, First I have to do something first. He'll call me any minute and I have to go. My work isn't finished yet. People stay here and take care of them. Genta nodded and Naruto deactivated his 6 paths sage mode. Jeriah noticed and saw that his Rinnegan disappeared. Then he asked, Naruto, your Rinnegan, can you deactivate it now? Naruto nodded, then answered, It's hard to explain, but in short, I freed myself from my chains and now all my potential has come to light. Now I can do many things, and this is what it reflects. Naruto removed his headband, revealing his Rinnegan symbol with 9 tomo, then put the headband back on. Although I'd like to talk now, I must go. Itachi is waiting for me since he's using my marker. I'll leave this here to come back later. See you. Naruto disappeared in a yellow flash. Jeriah smiled at that and then turned to Nagato and Conan, saying, Well, until Naruto returns, we need to catch up. I want you to tell me about all the current members of Akatsuki so we can plan something against them. They both nodded and went off to talk. When Fukasaku and Shima saw that everything was over, they said goodbye and left in a puff of smoke. Location unknown. Apparently Nagato and Conan betrayed us. They lost to the Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi. Apparently he masters the sage art of the toads. Nagato was going to dissolve Akatsuki, but I managed to bring this. Zetsu gave Madara the Rinnegan eyes in a jar. I see, no matter. The group that went to Yuzushiogakure discovered something interesting and brought back our new puppet. Although it will take time, we must wait. We'll implant both Rinnegan in him, and after that, we must wait 4 months for him to get used to it. I've already placed the seal of obedience on him, so he won't betray us. Gather the rest after I bring Sasuke Uchiha, since he'll be just another pawn. For now, we still have the advantage. Well, let's see what you'll do with this new power, Kenji Uzumaki. Elsewhere, I'm here, Itachi. Tell me, is everything ready? Itachi nodded. Everything's ready, Naruro-kun. Now let's go to the Uchiha hideout. I'll meet him there. Kisame and the other one are somewhere else, so there won't be any problems with that. Naruto nodded and accompanied Itachi. Dark cave moments before. Sasuke was walking. Then he saw a person standing there, and he commented, "Who are you?" The figure turned to look at him and replied, "I've been waiting for you, silly little brother." Upon hearing this, Sasuke suddenly activated his Sharingan. Itachi knew what Sasuke wanted, so now he was going to do what he would have done a long time ago. Talk to his younger brother. To be continued. Chapter 19. The truth about the massacre, Itachi's tears, and new citizens. Finally we meet, silly little brother, Itachi said, and Sasuke, who heard him, immediately activated his Sharingan. Then Itachi continued speaking. You took too long to find me, Sasuke. Now let's talk. Sasuke ignored him and immediately created a Chidori. Itachi sighed, saying, Don't tell me you're gonna scream and come running again like you did years ago. Sasuke looked at him and said, Itachi, all this time I have waited for this. Today we will settle accounts. It will be your end now. Sasuke grew his Chidori to the point that it became a sword of lightning. It pierced Itachi, and from their spikes emerged from his body. Itachi only said, You've gotten stronger, Sasuke. With his hand he pointed to another side and there was Itachi intact. Sasuke turned to see who he had attacked and went to a rock. It turned to dust. Itachi continued talking. As I said, Sasuke, I want to talk. I don't want to fight now. I need you to listen to what I'm going to tell you. Sasuke looked at him and said, I don't care what comes out of your mouth. Now die. Sasuke appeared behind Itachi and once again pierced him with his sword. Itachi just burst into a flock of crows saying, Sasuke, as I said before, I'm only going to talk to you. Come to the Uchiha hideout, then you'll learn the whole truth about why the Uchiha massacre happened. With that said, the crows flew away. Sasuke sighed. From the entrance of the cave came the other companions of Sasuke. Then he told them to follow him, since they had to reach their new destination, the Uchiha hideout, with Team Kakashi and Naruto. Kakashi followed Kiba, who had Sasuke's trail, and on their way Team Guy caught up with them. Hello, my eternal rival, we have caught up with you at an excellent speed. Well, what is the current situation? Kakashi commented upon seeing it. We are currently following Sasuke's trail. Naruto went off on a tangent looking for someone else, but he told us to keep going. We must move forward and find Sasuke. Guy nodded, saying, All right, Kakashi. Let's keep our youthful flames burning bright while we focus on this. Kakashi looked at him bored and then continued walking. In Konoha, Tsunade was restless. First, because she knew nothing about Jeriah. Second, Naruto still hadn't appeared. And third, she had run out of sake. She didn't know what to do until Shizune appeared and said, Tsunade-sama, we have news from Jiraiya-sama. Upon hearing this, Tsunade commented, That's Shizune, she speaks fast. Shizune gave her a box that said, Do not open. Must be received by the Hokage immediately. Tsunade was nervous. She gripped the box tremulously, closed her eyes and opened it slowly. When she finished, she expected the worst, but to her surprise it wasn't like that. Inside was a bouquet of red flowers, also a letter. Tsunade was still nervous. She took the letter, opened it, took out the paper and began to read it. Tsunadeheim, if you're reading this, it's because I won the bet. I'll be returning to Konoha soon. I finished up in Amigakure. I have a lot to tell you, but that will have to wait. For now, think about how to get ready for our date. Signed, Jeriah. Tsunade was about to explode. Shizune, seeing her, tried to calm her down, although she said, "I'll be right back. Shizune, I need to get some fresh air now." Tsunade left the office and Shizune, seeing her, thought it was bad news, so she gave her space. Tsunade went up to the balcony, looked at the letter. A drop fell on it. She was shedding tears thinking, thank goodness it wasn't a bad omen, you damned pervert, you'll see when you get here." Tsunade was happy because what happened in her office was just the wind. That happened 2 hours ago, so now she knew that wasn't the case, and now she would just wait for Jiraiya's return. With Naruto and Itachi. Itachi, tell me one thing, how do you plan to tell him the truth? Naruto asked, to which Itachi replied, he's currently blinded by the fight, but don't worry, I have a method to make him see everything. Even so, the fight will be inevitable, Naruto-kun. Don't interfere unless something very serious happens. For now, just watch everything, okay? Naruto nodded. Initially, it was going to be his idea to observe, and if something happened, he would intervene. Even so, he knew that Itachi was currently at his best, and Sasuke had no chance of winning, so all he could do was wait. Naruto's mind space. I see, that's how things are now. I need to catch up on many things. For now, we must see how we can prevent the resurrection of Grandma, or at least avoid the influence of the infinite Tsukuyomi. That would be easier. Indra commented, to which Ashura nodded, saying, yes, I think the second option would be best. For now, let's rest and we'll do more tomorrow. I also need to introduce you to Naruto, but he needs to finish his things first. We shouldn't interrupt him now, so we should lie down and recover our lost chakra. Ashura knew how right Indra was about that. The infinite Tsukuyomi had many purposes, and Naruto's was something special because it could control those it affected. It could make them live out their dreams, make them see someone who died years ago, but only for a short time, or simply leave them immobile while they watched everything and couldn't do anything. Although only he could cancel the Tsukuyomi cast by Naruto, he couldn't cancel the one cast by the Ten Tails. It absolutely required the chakra of all 9-tailed beasts, and with his Rinnegan, that was enough to eliminate it. Even so, Ashura knew he shouldn't be overconfident. The Ten Tails' power was no joke, especially his grandmother's. There were only 2 ways: stopping the Ten Tails or sealing her again. But for that, they needed Indra's reincarnation, Sasuke Uchiha. Otherwise, the sealing couldn't be done. Indra nodded and decided to comment. Ashura, after this we must try to help search for the other bijou. If we manage to get them, we could have an advantage. Ashura shook his head, saying, Indra, 7 of the 9 bijou have already been sealed in the ghetto statue. What we can do is have Naruto look for Gyuki's Jinchuriki. If he is under our protection, that would be an advantage. Indra nodded. Then he felt tired and fell asleep. Ashura, who saw him, smiled and went to sleep too. Kurama, who was just watching, thought, idiot brothers, if only you had realized it sooner. Well, that doesn't matter now. For now, it's just a matter of waiting, so it's just a question of what will happen from here on out. With that, Kurama simply lay back and began to observe everything Naruto was doing. In Konoha, okay, let's see 1 and 2 wind-style wind dome. By simply making 2 hand seals, Konohamaru managed to create the wind dome. Naruto's clone clapped, saying, okay, now keep going, we won't stop until you finish everything today. Konohamaru nodded and continued with the clones to keep moving forward. Team 10 were at the Akimichi restaurant eating barbecue. Then they started chatting. Shikamaru, what do you think would be a good wedding gift? It might be soon and it's best to be ready for that. Shikamaru, looking at her, said, I don't know, it's still too early to think about that. For now it's just a matter of waiting, it's too problematic to think about it now. Ino sighed. She had expected something like this. Choji wanted to participate, so he said, well, as long as they have delicious food, I won't have any problem being there. She commented, thinking about the delicious food she would find. Ino was left thinking, is it just me who worries about something so important? Well, it's just a matter of waiting. With Tsunade, after receiving the message, she returned to her office, sat down, sighed, and became serious again. Okay, let's see, we should ask Kirigakure for help. If those guys come back, it's better to have extra help. I look at the communicator thinking, I wish they had this. Life would be easier. Well, it doesn't matter. It's time to send a message to the classics. With that in mind, I called Shizune, and she quickly came over. Tell me, Tsunade-sama. Tsunade looked at her and said, prepare a messenger bird. We must send a message to Kirigakure. Quickly. Shizune nodded and immediately went to do what she was told. With Jeriah, Nagato, and Conan. I see, so those are all the new members. I don't think Madara is still alive. He's probably an imposter. I must say, though, that I understand why you chose a path of darkness, but you're still willing to rectify your mistake, and that's a start. Conan and Nagato nodded, and it was Conan who spoke. Jiraiya-sensei, I don't know what to say yet. We have taken many lives with our own hands, and now we are being forgiven by you. I truly can't believe it. Jeriah placed his palm on Conan's shoulder, saying, Conan, I know you committed irreparable acts, yet you can still build something better, a future to fight for, a place to call home, a home you can defend for everyone. Conan nodded. Nagato, who heard him, said, that may be so, even if the other villages don't know who we are. The damage we caused as Akatsuki is already done. And when the other villages find out who we are, they will not hesitate to demand our heads. Jeriah shook his head, saying, don't worry, Nagato. These things can be resolved. Besides, have faith that Naruto will be able to defend you before the other nations. He will be able to make the rest see that you also have the right to live like everyone else, of that I am sure. Nagato nodded and Jeriah continued speaking. When Naruto returns, we will go back to Konoha. There, he and I will speak with Tsunadeheim so that all of you can live in peace without being bothered. Nagato and Conan nodded. Jeriah smiled, knowing that even his former students wanted to do things right. In Konoha, Naruto watched Udon, who was practicing water jutsus, when he finished and said, water style, water wall. Performing the necessary hand seals, I create a wall of water. Naruto applauded at that, saying, well done, Udon, now for the next move. Udon nodded, performing the hand seals, he said, water style, water dome. Udon was surrounded by a dome of water. Naruto clapped, saying, good job, Udon, now for the next one. Nodding, he performed the manual seals, saying, water style, large waterfall. Udon spat a torrent of water into the lake. Naruto clapped, saying, good, excellent, now go back to training the same jutsus until you can lower the hand seals. Udon nodded, saying, immediately, sensei. With that said, Udon set to work with clones. Moegi practiced earth jutsus, since Naruto told her that she should learn it first, because she shouldn't depend on the wood element for everything. With that in mind, she made the hand seals. Earth style, earth wall. Hitting the ground, I create a wall of earth. Naruto nodded, saying, good job, now for the next jutsu. Moegi nodded, immediately performing the hand seals, saying, earth style, rock pillars. Hitting the ground again, I create 4 pillars of rock. Naruto nodded, saying, okay, next one. Nodding, he performed the manual seals, saying, earth style, deep mud. The ground in front of her turned to mud. Naruto nodded, saying, well done, now practice the same jutsus again until you only use 1 hand seal. If you manage to not use any at all, good, do it. Nodding, she set to work on it. While Naruto watched her, he thought, they have a future, it's just a matter of time before they can learn everything. Well, there are only 4 months left until my wedding with Hinata. By then they'll be able to learn more. For now, we just have to wait and see. I have faith that they'll learn the most amazing things. Now I'll just sit back and wait. With that thought, Naruto's clones sat and watched, knowing that they could achieve many things. So all that remained was to wait. With Sasuke Uchiha, son of Fugaku Uchiha and Makoto Uchiha, used to live in Konoha, where he enjoyed peace and tranquility. His older brother, Itachi, was a role model for him. As time passed, Sasuke grew to appreciate his brother, but his father didn't see him the same way. There was a clear preference between Sasuke and Itachi. Itachi was more intelligent, awakening his Sharingan at a young age, graduating from the academy much earlier, becoming a Chunin much sooner, and then joining the ANBU at a young age. Although Sasuke wasn't interested in that, he always sought Itachi out for training, though he would often touch his forehead with his fingers and say, sorry Sasuke, I can't right now, maybe later. Sasuke sometimes got annoyed by it. Then it passed. He watched his brother train constantly, and although he tried to join in, Itachi always finished everything and then they went home. Time passed and Sasuke entered the academy. His mother, Makoto, always prepared his afternoon snack, as he enjoyed it. His father was still indifferent towards him. He always sought his attention, yet he tried every method to gain his approval, but he couldn't. He just sighed and began training to master the Uchiha clan's jutsu. When he did, he tested it again and succeeded. His father, Fugaku, was amazed, but then his serious expression returned. He turned around and walked away. Sasuke just watched him, though he heard his words. "Good job, Sasuke." Upon hearing this, Sasuke smiled without saying anything else, then simply left, happy that his father had given him his approval. One night he was out late, he rushed home and saw everything with fear, corpses everywhere. He rushed home and what he saw was the last thing, and what shocked him the most was that his brother Itachi was the cause of it all. He told him that he did it for power. Sasuke tried to confront him but he couldn't. Then he heard Itachi's words. "Foolish little brother, you're weak. Look at you, how pathetic. If you want revenge someday, become strong, cling to that pathetic life you have. Then only when you have the same eyes as me." Itachi showed her his Mangekyo Sharingan again. "We'll settle accounts." Sasuke couldn't endure any more and fell unconscious. From that day forward, he swore revenge for the name of his massacred clan. Initially, he collaborated with his teammates, but later, in the Forest of Death, he received a power that pleased him. There, he encountered Itachi again, but lost miserably. He began to wonder what he was doing in the village, and then decided to leave with Orochimaru. With him, he learned many things, and in 3 years he grew much stronger. Later, he encountered Naruto and lost miserably again. He questioned what he was doing wrong. He had trained, and he was certain he now had the power to kill Itachi, yet Naruto defeated him in a humiliating manner. When he returned to Orochimaru, he learned new jutsus and trained even harder. He didn't sleep for a week until he mastered his technique. Once he did, he prepared to get rid of Orochimaru. When he did, he began searching for his new companions. The first was Suigetsu, the second was Karen Uzumaki, and the third was Jogo. With them, he set out on his quest. Itachi was now close to the Uchiha hideout. Nothing was missing before he would meet him, and his revenge would soon be complete. They had reached the entrance, but there were 2 members of Akatsuki there. One said, "I'm sorry, but Sasuke is the only one who can pass. The rest must stay behind." Kisame commented. His other companion just watched. Sasuke nodded, saying, "Okay, this is personal. The 3 of you stay here until I return." Karen protested, but Sasuke told her he would return later. With that, he left for where he was to meet Itachi. With Itachi sat waiting. Naruto was hidden with a powerful camouflage Fuinjutsu, undetectable to the human eye. Neither the Sharingan nor the Byakugan could find him. For Itachi, this moment was going to change his brother. The only reason was that he didn't want Sasuke to follow the path of darkness. So the only way was to tell him the whole truth, explain why he acted the way he did, and bring him to his senses. With that in mind, he knew what to do, so he simply waited for him to arrive. 5 minutes later, "Welcome, Sasuke. Now take a seat and let's talk." Sasuke glared at him with hatred, saying, "No, Itachi, this time you're going to pay for everything, for what you did, for murdering the clan, so prepare yourself." Itachi shook his head, saying, "I'll say it again, I just want to talk to you, I don't want to fight, so take a seat and let's talk." Sasuke, with incredible speed, got behind Itachi and stabbed him with his sword. Itachi looked at him and said, "You really got stronger, Sasuke." With his fingers, he pointed to one side and there was Itachi intact. Sasuke noticed that where he was standing there was nothing. He was in the same place as before. Itachi said, "Stop acting like a child, Sasuke, and sit down. Let's talk like civilized people." Sasuke looked at him and said, "What are you plotting, Itachi? I won't fall for your tricks. Now come and fight." Itachi said nothing and only pointed to the chair in front of him. Sasuke just continued and Itachi sighed, saying, "Sasuke is very conceited, now it's impossible to talk to him. Well, it doesn't matter. If he continues like this, I'll have to make him see that I really need to talk to him." Itachi knew that Sasuke definitely wanted to fight, but he wasn't going to allow him that luxury. If necessary, he would make him see reason with blows. In Konoha, 2 hours later, "Jeriah, you're going to explain a lot of things when I have you here, you'll see." I'm gonna make you talk because I'm so worried about you. Tsunade was holding a doll and hitting it. The stuffing was already coming out from so many blows. Shizune entered the office saying, Tsunade-sama, I bring news from Team Kakashi and Naruto. Tsunade stopped what she was doing and looked at Shizune, saying, I'm listening, Shizune. Shizune nodded and explained directly. Apparently they found a subject who possesses the Sharingan just like Sasuke Uchiha and Itachi Uchiha. He has an orange mask with a single hole for vision. He is a member of Akatsuki. Right now they are going to wear Sasuke Uchiha since Naruto is there against him. Tsunade nodded, leaned back in her chair, and said, Thanks, Shizune. For now we just have to wait and see how the 3 squadrons fare. With that said, he simply waited for their return. Naruto's house. Alright Konohamaru, you managed to master the jutsus by lowering the hand seals. Now I'll give you a demonstration of what we'll be doing tomorrow. Konohamaru nodded, sat down waiting for the demonstration. Naruto stood in front saying, Konohamaru, I need you to understand this well. You have wind, fire, and lightning. Let's look at all the elements you have an affinity for. So, you already know wind jutsus. Now, to perfectly master the wind, you must become one with it. Only then will you be able to execute wind jutsus without the need for hand seals. Observe this carefully. Naruto began to move, generating waves of wind. He stretched out his arm and the wind blew. With his other arm, he stretched it out as well, but towards his back, and the wind was generated. When he finished, he said, Konohamaru, understand this. Wind is something very few shinobi can control. There are users who can handle it well, but not like I did. Remember this. Water is calm, fire is anger, earth is strength, lightning is speed, and wind is freedom. When the wind blows, you feel refreshed, free from everything. It can choose its course wherever it likes without any common goal, so I hope you understand. Konohamaru nodded and Naruto continued talking. Now look, the wind is sharp like a kunai. The difference is that this one cuts much better and whoever has the sharpest blade will always win. Now let's see, I know one of my favorites. Wind style. Sphere of emptiness. Creating an orb of wind in his hand, he struck the tree, causing it to begin to cut. A few seconds passed and it ended. The tree was damaged. Konohamaru was amazed at this. Naruto realized he had gotten his attention, so he continued talking. As you can see, Konohamaru, there are many things that can be done, for example. Wind style. Multiple wind shuriken. Creating wind shurikens. He threw them at the tree, causing the cuts to occur. Then he continued speaking. There are good attacks, and my most powerful one is this. Wind style. Raisin shuriken. Naruto at this moment showed him the Raisin shuriken, his signature technique. Then said, You can learn all of this, Konohamaru. Keep this in mind. You will be very strong when you master all of this, because nothing will be able to stop you. Konohamaru nodded and Naruto said, Okay. Rest up, we're done for today. Tomorrow we'll move on to more. This month you must master everything about the wind, and next month we'll move on to fire. With that said, Konohamaru's training for today came to an end. Okay, let's see your progress, Udon. Try the jutsus. I know that in these past few hours you've achieved more than before. Preparing 2 manual stamps, he said. Water style water wall. Using the water from the lake, I create a wall of water. Naruto applauded at that and indicated the next one. Then with 2 hand seals he said, Water style water dome. Once again using the lake water, he surrounded himself with a dome of water. Naruto clapped his hands and indicated the next step, nodding and performing 2 hand seals, saying, Water style, large waterfall. I created a tide of water from the lake, just like before, Naruto said, clapping his hands. Well done. Now keep in mind that it will be easier when you are near a water source. Now observe carefully. Water is always something we can use in a relaxing way. Naruto, using his hand, created an orb of water, saying, We can give it many shapes. It's something we can easily mold. This is done thanks to the control one has over it. Now it can be a sword, a shuriken, a kunai, among many other things. Naruto showed her the shapes he had mentioned using the water orb, then continued talking. Water itself is not aggressive, but it depends on how one uses it. For example, water style, water missile dragon. Performing a hand seal, he created a water dragon from the same environment and sent it towards the tree. which cracked due to the impact. Naruto continued speaking. Depending on the pressure you apply at a point, the water can become the offensive. Now observe this, you can learn everything if you put in the effort. By making a manual seal, I create the water dragon, water shurikens, water kunai, water swords, water bubbles, among others. Water can be both offensive and defensive. You will acquire all of this and also my strongest attack. Creating a Rasengan in his hand, it began to surround itself with water. When it ended, it was a whirlpool of water centered around the core. Then he said, "This is an attack I created, the Resina Aquamarine. It's both an offensive and defensive attack. You'll learn this, but in due time. This month you must master water, and next month we'll look at wind." Well, that's all for today. You can rest. Tomorrow we'll look at offensive jutsus. Nodding, Udon went to take a break for today. Okay, Moegi, let's see your progress, now give it a try. Nodding, he proceeded to perform the jutsus he had done before with 2 hand seals. And Naruto nodded in response. Good job, Moegi. Remember, the earth demonstrates your strength. You should know that thanks to that we can shape many things. Now observe. Performing a hand seal, Naruto created many things. An earth dragon, earth peaks, the swamp of the underworld, among others. Then he formed a blue orb, and as it changed color, the earth began to surround it. After that, he finished by saying, "This is the Reisenpaku, an S-rank jutsu. I have more, but due to your elemental affinities, you can only learn water and earth. But don't worry, I have more jutsu for those elements. When you master all of that, we'll look at the wood element. Not yet, though, since you must first learn about water and earth. That's all for today. You can rest. Tomorrow we'll look at offensive jutsu. This whole month you must learn everything about the earth element. Next month we'll look at water and finally the wood element. That's all for now, you can go." Moegi nodded and proceeded to leave. Naruto joined his other clones. They sighed and simply lay down to sleep for a while. The 3 genin gathered together. It was Konohamaru who spoke. "And how was my day? I learned a lot today." Udon was the next to speak. "Me too, we can really improve if we keep going like this." The 3 nodded and then Moegi commented, "Yes, thanks to all this we can make progress. Well, it's still early, let's eat." The 3 genin left to go and have a leisurely lunch, with Jeriah 1 hour earlier. "Okay guys, since we're going to Konoha later, I need you to know something. I heard that Naruto is getting married soon, so you can be there to congratulate him. I know he'll be happy to have you there." It was Conan who spoke now. "Jiraiya-sensei, the question is whether the Hokage wants us to be in Konoha, especially when she knows that we are from Akatsuki." Jeriah shook his head, saying, "They were from Akatsuki, not Conan anymore. That's over. Now everything will depend on you. I trust you, so there's nothing to worry about. For now, let's just wait, right? Tell me why you forged Akatsuki. I don't think it's to cause fear and destruction." This time it was Nagato who spoke. "I'll tell you the story of Akatsuki. The day we parted ways with you, we left. Time passed, and Yahiko wanted to bring a new dawn to Amigakure. That's how Akatsuki was created. Our true goal was to bring a new light to all of Amigakure. We soon managed to bring more people with us, and thanks to that, our organization grew greatly. Yahiko was happy because little by little we were achieving our goal. At that time, we helped everyone who needed it. Our actions reached Hanzo. One day, he summoned us all. We went, and he gave us his approval. Yahiko felt proud because Hanzo approved of us. Time passed, and everything was happy. Then tragedy struck. Hanzo captured Conan and threatened that Yahiko should die. At that moment, I hesitated, but it was Yahiko who made the decision to die. From then on, Akatsuki took a different path. Some time passed, and I killed Hanzo. Later, I learned that Danzo was behind it all. He spoke with Hanzo so that we would be eliminated. All of that, Madara, the masked one, told us, even though I didn't think that guy would know all that. He explained to us about a project, the Eye of the Moon. I don't know what his real objective is, but what I do know is that with the chakras of all the bijou, he is going to forge a powerful weapon that with just one attack can destroy a nation in one fell swoop. We have to stop him from doing that. Jeriah nodded, saying, "I understand, don't worry, we'll make sure that guy doesn't do something like that again." What surprises me is how it all started. I know Yahiko would be proud of you to know that you decided to return to the path of good. Nagato smiled at that, saying, "He knows it. Thanks to Naruto's jutsu, we were able to see him again, and he's glad we came to our senses. He also sends his regards. Jeriah nodded thoughtfully. Naruto, you truly possess abilities beyond my imagination. Danzo, that man was the cause of Nagato turning evil. I need to speak properly with Tsunade about all of this. Jeriah looked at Nagato and said, do they have any evidence about Danzo's crimes? Nagato nodded, saying, we have it, he's in Amigakure. We have everything about him there, about his crimes and how he made Naruto's life impossible. It was Zetsu who brought that information, but when he mentioned Naruto we decided to ignore it since at that moment we weren't focused on capturing Bijou. But as I said, everything is in Amigakure. Jiraiya-sensei will have his evidence there. Jeriah nodded, saying, okay, when Naruto returns, I'll ask him to take us there so we can gather everything and take it to the Hokage. Nagato nodded, and all that was left was to wait for Naruto to arrive. With Kakashi's team, Naruto and Guy, as they are, Toby will have new friends. The rest of the team stopped when they saw an Akatsuki member blocking their path. 11 against 1 is unfair. Well, it doesn't matter, Toby will have fun with all of you. Kakashi, who looked at him, said, step aside, we can beat you now. Toby looked at him bored, saying, no, Toby is going to have fun with you, so however you want, Deidara-senpai style or another method, Toby is eager to begin. The rest tried to move forward ignoring Toby, but when they got closer there was an explosion forcing them to stay there. Toby shook his finger saying, if I were you, I wouldn't take a step. Toby chose Deidara-senpai mode, so let's see. Toby is curious about how they will fly. Kiba said angrily, I myself will finish you off. Come on, Akamaru. With a bark, Akamaru confirmed and they both jumped towards Toby. When he got there, Toby said, we have a new friend. Look, Toby has a friendship gift for you. Toby took out a small box, then threw it to Kiba, who caught it, puzzled. He hesitated for a second, but his curiosity won out. Opening it, it was a clock that went tic-tac. Kiba grabbed it, saying, seriously, a watch? I thought it would be a... Boom! It didn't end because the clock exploded. Kiba went flying where the rest of his team was. Akamaru tried to attack Toby, but he missed with his attack. The rest looked at Kiba with a mocking tone. Toby stayed there laughing. Ha ha ha, just like Deidara-senpai. But this time you won't wake up and you'll stay unconscious for a day. Now Toby wants to know who will be next. Kakashi looked at Niji and Hinata. They understood, and activating their Byakugan they tried to see where the mines would be. Upon seeing them they only shook their heads. Niji was the first to speak. We are surrounded by many explosives. I don't see any point where we can cross. Hinata nodded in confirmation. Kakashi understood. Toby looked at them and said, come on. Who will be the next one to come against me? Toby wants to meet his new friend. 30 minutes later. Ha ha ha, you're funny. Toby has a lot of fun with you. Lee and Tenten were knocked unconscious by the explosions. Sakura tried to help them, but said they wouldn't wake up until tomorrow. Kakashi was thinking when a Venus flytrap appeared, opened, and revealed itself to be a black and white man. He said, the fight between Sasuke and Itachi is over, but the Kyuubi Jinchuriki is still there. If you want things to turn out the way you want, you must go immediately. The rest were astonished by those words. Kakashi thought as he heard it, Naruto is there. Just as he arrived, it doesn't matter, it's better to finish this. Toby looked at the others and said, what a shame, we won't be able to continue playing. Toby says goodbye, although there will be a time when we meet again. Kakashi, Guy, Yamato, and those who were paying attention saw the guy's voice change from a childish voice to a hoarse, deep one. But what surprised Kakashi the most was that he saw a Sharingan on the only visible side of his eye. Toby commented, well, Konoha ninjas, I'll see you soon. I have a new pawn to collect. With that, he disappeared into a vortex. Kakashi was amazed at that. He looked for the other Akatsuki member but didn't see him, so he guessed that he had left too. He just thought, space-time jutsu, this guy is dangerous, we must inform Tsunade-sama about this, but first. I look at the others saying, come on, we'll take a detour and we can continue. Let's do it at once. Time is of the essence. Carry your companions and we'll keep moving forward. With that said, the rest helped Lee, Tenten, and Kiba, so they were able to advance until they reached Sasuke and Naruto. With Itachi, 30 minutes earlier, Sasuke and Itachi were engaged in a genjutsu duel for an hour, until Sasuke spoke. Enough, we won't get anywhere like this, Itachi. You made a mistake years ago and now you're going to pay. I will avenge the Uchiha clan. With your death, it will all end. Itachi heard it, sighed for a moment, and replied, Yes, you're right. I made a mistake, leaving you alone when I should have been there to help you. But you should know that there's a reason for my actions. If you're willing to hear me, sit down or I'll have to force you to listen. Itachi Uchiha, a prodigy shinobi of the Uchiha clan, committed a sin years ago, something he will show Sasuke to bring him to his senses. Sasuke looked at him and said, There's nothing to talk about, you made that perfectly clear to me years ago. Now I'll end this. Sasuke began to use the power of the cursed seal. Itachi thought as he saw it. This is what Naruto-kun told me. I have a way to remove that, but I need him to exhaust all his chakra. Apparently he won't listen to me, so it's better to force all this at once. Itachi immediately went after Sasuke, who waited for him, summoned shurikens and threw them at Itachi. Itachi dodged them all, even though Sasuke had threads attached to them. The shurikens advanced towards Itachi again, and he dodged them once more. However, Sasuke, using his lightning element, expanded the cutting range, causing damage to Itachi through an electric cut. He felt it but endured it, then said, Sasuke, I must tell you the difference between your Sharingan and mine. The Mangekyo Sharingan, the next evolution of the common Sharingan, you haven't awakened yet, so it will be impossible for you to beat me. Through my ocular power you will know the truth. Itachi grabbed Sasuke, immobilizing him. Then his Sharingan changed to his Mangekyo Sharingan. All Sasuke heard was, Tsukuyomi. Tsukuyomi, Itachi's visual technique, is a powerful genjutsu that allows him to control the mind of his victim, causing them to experience physical exhaustion as if they had fought, as well as spiritual depletion. Anything they suffered there, they would feel in the real world. Itachi knew that with this technique he could do anything, even show things he wanted one to see. He knew what he had to do, and that was to show Sasuke the truth. Sasuke realized he was somewhere else. He looked around and saw nothing, only darkness. Itachi appeared beside him, saying, Welcome to Tsukuyomi. As I said before, I don't want to fight, I just want to show you the truth, why all this happened, why the Uchiha massacre occurred. Upon seeing him, Sasuke launched a Chidori, but it only exploded into a flock of crows. Sasuke, it's useless, I control everything here. Now look at how it all started and how it actually ended. Itachi reappeared next to Sasuke, and in front of them was reflected the Konoha of years past. Konoha, years ago, 4 days before the Uchiha coup d'etat began. There were 2 Umbu standing in a tree, looking at the village where they grew up. One wore a weasel mask and the other wore a normal Jounin uniform. The Umbu began to speak. Shursui, in 4 days my father wants to start the coup d'etat. This will be a civil war where many lives will be lost. Do you think what we talked about with the 3rd Hokage will work? Shursui looked at him and said, Yes, if it goes as planned, then it will work. We just need to find the right moment. We must do it exactly as we discussed with the 3rd Hokage, so let's just wait, Itachi. Itachi nodded. He knew what he had talked about with the 3rd Hokage 3 days ago. Flashback. Itachi and Shursui were standing in front of Hiruzen Sarutobi, Hamura, Koharu, and Danzo. Then Itachi began the conversation. Hokage-sama, you should know that my father, the leader of the Uchiha clan, wants to stage a coup. He will do so in a week, so I cannot guarantee the casualties that may occur in Konoha. Sarutobi nodded, saying, I understand. I'll think of something to find a solution to this problem. Danzo, who looked at him, said, No, Hiruzen, we must act immediately. We must attack now before they act. We must kill every Uchiha, even the innocent children. Sarutobi frowned at that, looking at Danzo and saying, Danzo, don't say that in front of them. The Uchiha are ancient fighting comrades. I want to resolve this with words, not with death and the extinction of a clan. Now, Itachi and Shursui, do you think you can buy me time so I can come up with a plan to prevent the coup? They both nodded. Shursui was annoyed by what Danzo had said. He didn't trust that man. He had a way to stop the coup without casualties, so he decided to share his information. Hokage-sama, I have an idea. Do you think you could give me the option of stopping the coup? Together with Itachi, we can stop this and avoid unnecessary casualties. Sarutobi nodded, saying, Okay, then I'll leave it in your hands to stop the coup. I trust you'll be able to stop this. Now you can go. They both nodded and left. End of flashback. Shursui, the coup is about to begin. Are you ready to execute everything? Shursui nodded, saying, Of course. Not even Fugaku can withstand the Konohamaru Tsukumi. So don't worry. Everything will turn out as I've planned. I'll force him to stop the coup and never do it again, so for now, just wait. Itachi nodded and Shursui decided to leave at that moment since he had to pay his respects at the memorial stone. Itachi simply returned home since he had something to do. Sasuke had heard Itachi's words at that moment. First, he was stunned. His clan was going to stage a coup against Konoha. Second, the guy named Danzo wanted to carry out the execution order against the Uchiha. Third, the third Hokage didn't allow it. And fourth, it was Shursui who wanted to stop everything without the need for the massacre to occur. He looked at Itachi, who just gestured with his hand for him to keep looking. Sasuke turned to look and his eyes widened at what he saw. Itachi had a bad feeling. First, he couldn't find Shursui anywhere. Second, his father had mentioned at the meeting that he was going to kidnap the Kyuubi Jinchuriki, force the beast out, and have it on his side. And third, he felt that something bad was going to happen today. When he arrived at a large area, he saw that everything was burned. There was blood and a trail. He decided to follow it immediately. When he reached the end, there was Shursui, wounded and missing an eye. Itachi was astonished by this, and Shursui said, It's all over, Itachi. That guy Danzo took my eye. I can no longer perform the Konohamaru Tsukumi. But there is something I can still do. Shursui removes his other eye and gives it to Itachi, who, astonished by this, said, Shursui, don't do it, you can still heal yourself. If we go to the third Hokage, maybe he can. I didn't finish because Shursui shook his head, saying, No, it's too late for me, now only you remain. Protect the village. I trust you can stop this. I leave you my eye. Use it in case of emergency. Itachi nodded, grabbed Shursui's eye, and she continued speaking. See you, Itachi, and take care. With that, he threw himself into the waterfall. Itachi tried to stop him but couldn't. At that moment, he could only shed tears. There, he was able to awaken his own Mangekyo Sharingan. Then he went to the Hokage Tower to talk to the third Hokage since this shouldn't have happened. He knew it was Danzo, but without proof, he couldn't do anything. When he arrived there, he began to speak. Hokage-sama, we have a problem. Shursui died because of an unknown attacker. I don't know who it was, but now our plan cannot be carried out. Toby nodded, looking at Itachi, and said, That's a shame. I wanted this to stop smoothly. I'll think of something to do it. For now, try to buy some time, Itachi. Itachi nodded and left the place. As he walked, he encountered Danzo, Hamura, and Koharu. Danzo indicated that he should follow him, and nodding, he went. When they arrived at a room, it was Danzo who spoke. Itachi, we know what happened. Hiruzen told us. You know very well that the Uchiha clan is beyond redemption now. The execution must take place. You decide whether you do it or we do it. It's your choice. Itachi looked at him. He knew what those three wanted. He thought for a few seconds and nodded. As I ordered, I will carry out the execution myself. Danzo nodded, saying, Okay, do it tomorrow. It's your only chance. Now go. Itachi nodded, and with that he left. Sasuke, who was watching, couldn't believe it. It was an order from the Hokage's advisors to carry out the Uchiha massacre. Now he didn't know what to say. He looked back at Itachi, who gestured for him to keep watching. Sasuke turned to continue watching what was happening. Itachi was stunned by what he was about to do. In the forest, he encountered a masked man who proclaimed himself Madara Uchiha. Although Itachi didn't believe him, the man said he wanted to take revenge on the village. Itachi proposed that he could help him avenge the clan in exchange for him leaving Konoha in peace. Madara just shrugged and nodded, then simply waited for nightfall. Night fell, and he knew what to do. Kill everyone in the clan except one, his younger brother Sasuke. He knew what the advisors wanted, but he wasn't going to grant their wish. So he began, going from house to house in his ANBU uniform, killing every member of his clan. He knew Madara had started too, so he just kept killing. It pained him inside what he was doing, but he did it without hesitation, until he reached his own house. His parents, Fugaku and Makoto Uchiha, were there, sitting down, and behind them stood Itachi, sword in hand, ready to kill them, but he stopped. Fugaku, sensing this, said, "So that's how things are, Itachi, you're with them." Itachi heard him and replied, "Forgive me, cousin Tsunade, but I must not allow them to continue with this. That is why I must." I didn't finish because Makoto interrupted me, saying, "We understand, Itachi. Don't hesitate now and fulfill your duty. You are my son and I am proud of you." At that moment, Itachi's tears came out. He trembled as he gripped his sword before his parents. He had doubts and it hurt inside. Fugaku was the next to speak. "Itachi, just promise me one thing. Take care of Sasuke. I know I haven't been the best father to him, but even so, I love him as much as I love you. I know it hurts you to do this, but our relationship will end when you finish your duty. You are my son, and I am proud of both you and Sasuke." Itachi nodded, saying, "Okay, I'll take care of Sasuke. I promise. Goodbye, cousin and Tsunade." With that, Itachi finished. Minutes later, Sasuke arrived and Itachi confronted him. Although he tried to fight, he couldn't, so Itachi knocked him unconscious. Itachi approached him, picked him up, and said, "Forgive me, Sasuke. Forgive me for all this. I'm going to make sure that you at least live peacefully in this village. I know those words must have hurt you, but even so, you should know that I appreciate you very much, my silly little brother." With that, I took Sasuke home and left him with his parents. After that, I left. I had something to do before going to the Hokage. In a room, the three advisors were waiting for the report from the route ANBU. When two of them arrived, Danzo signaled for them to speak. "Danzo-sama, it's done. The entire Uchiha clan has been exterminated. Although there is a counting error, there are two more that need to be confirmed." Danzo and the other advisors looked at the Umbu, who then fainted. The other Umbu saw him, saying, "I saw everything. I'll tell you three this. Don't touch Sasuke, or I'll personally make sure all the elemental nations know the secrets of the village. And Danzo, I know what you did to Shursui. One day you will pay for your crimes. Know this. I see everything, I know everything, and if you do anything to my younger brother, believe me, the village secrets will be the least of your problems." With the threat left behind, Itachi departed in a flock of crows. Danzo gritted his teeth at that. Hamura and Koharu watched Danzo, wondering what Itachi meant. Danzo was just thinking, "Damn it, Itachi, one day you'll pay for this. I'll do anything to protect the village, and when I become Hokage, it will be the end of you." Itachi went to the third Hokage, who was in his office. Sarutobi looked at him curiously and Itachi said, "Hokage-sama, I have something to report. The advisors acted behind your back and wanted to execute the Uchiha clan. They told me so, so I decided to do it myself." Sarutobi, upon hearing this, sighed and said, "Tell me, Itachi, did you do it because you thought it was your duty, or what was your reason for doing this?" Itachi answered him, "Hokage-sama, I did it because I suspected Danzo. He was the one who attacked Shursui, took his eye, and prevented the coup from being stopped. Besides, I didn't know what he would do if he took charge, so I decided to do it myself. Also, I want to tell you that my brother Sasuke survived. He's at my house. Please go and protect him from Danzo." Sarutobi nodded, saying, "Okay, Itachi, I'll do it. Now I need to think about what to do to face Danzo and the other advisors. Tell me what you'll do now." Itachi knew what to do, so he answered her, "Hokage-sama, I will go and investigate this organization called Akatsuki. I am certain they are up to no good, so I will act as a spy and keep you informed of anything." Sarutobi nodded, saying, "Okay, go ahead. I'll get ready to go after Sasuke and rest assured I'll take care of him." Itachi nodded and left the place. He was on top of the Hokage's face mountain. Madara appeared behind him saying, "Are you ready to go?" Itachi nodded, saying, "Give me a few minutes, go ahead. I'll catch up with you later." Madara nodded and left. Itachi, not noticing him, broke down. Kneeling, he thought about everything he had done that day. Tears streamed down his face as he looked at the village, saying, "Take care, Sasuke. I hope you grow up and understand someday what happened today." Sasuke, upon seeing shed tears, he looked at Itachi, who also shed tears, saying, "This is the truth, Sasuke. Everything you thought was just something I did to make you strong. But I was wrong. You left the village, and that's not what I wanted for you. I wanted you to be better than me. Now, as you see, this is the truth about the Uchiha massacre. I did it to protect the village and especially you. Even though I killed our parents, they still loved us and you've seen it all. This is my sin, something I will always carry and never forget. Now, this is all I wanted you to see. I will pull us out of the Tsukuyomi now. Itachi finished the Tsukuyomi and now they were both there. Sasuke shed tears standing there. Itachi just saw him, said nothing and just waited. Then Sasuke wiped his tears, turned around and walked towards the exit. Itachi seeing him went there and stood in front of him saying, "Where are you going, Sasuke? You still haven't answered me about everything you saw." Sasuke saw him and said, "I'm leaving. I have nothing to do here. I'll go to Konoha and kill those advisors. I'll do it for killing the Uchiha clan and for using you to do their dirty work." Itachi shook his head, saying, "No, Sasuke. Understand. I don't want you to continue down that path of revenge. It's time to leave that behind. We can live a better life." Sasuke just shook his head, saying, "No, they caused this, they will pay for this, so don't try to stop me because I won't hesitate to fight. I will go to Konoha, kill those advisors, and then I will think about what to do." Itachi looked at him and said, "No, Sasuke, I can't allow you to do that. I know you're angry, but I can't allow you to commit such a crime. There are ways we can deal with this, but the way you want to do it isn't the right one." Sasuke looked at him and said, "I don't care, I'm gonna kill them however I have to. Now I'm leaving, if you want to come, but I won't stop." Itachi grabbed Sasuke's arm and pulled him away from the exit, saying, "Stop it, Sasuke. I won't allow you to do this. I didn't want this, but it's better if I stop you now. As your older brother, I won't allow you to do something stupid." Itachi prepared to fight and so did Sasuke. He didn't want to fight his brother, but if he had to in order to achieve his goals, he would fight. 30 minutes later, the battle between Sasuke and Itachi dragged on. First, Itachi attacked normally, then with fire jutsus. Although Itachi didn't want to fight Sasuke, he did so because Sasuke was trying to attack his village, and he wasn't going to allow that. At one point, Itachi tried to knock him out, but Sasuke, using the level 2 curse seal, managed to dodge. Itachi was pressing him. It was the only way he could release Sasuke from Orochimaru's seal. He continued, damaging him enough, and Sasuke performed a body swap like Orochimaru. Although it cost Itachi a lot of chakra, Itachi found it, and they continued in a taijutsu duel. From there, they returned to jutsus. Itachi knew he had everything he needed, so Sasuke initiated his most lethal jutsu, Kirin, a lightning dragon that was the most powerful he possessed. Itachi was astonished by this, so when the attack was about to hit him, he activated his Susanoo to protect himself. Seeing that his attack didn't harm his brother, Sasuke tried to draw more chakra, and there it happened. The snakes emerged from the cursed seal. Orochimaru peered out ready to attack, but Itachi had expected something like this. He had studied the cursed seal thanks to Naruto, who had sent him all the necessary information. Then, using his Totsuga sword, he sealed Orochimaru and thus removed Sasuke's cursed seal. Itachi was tired, and Sasuke was unconscious. Naruto appeared beside Itachi, saying, "Great fight. Tell me he already knows everything." Itachi nodded, saying, "He knows it, but he decided to go and kill Danzo and the other 2 counselors. I fought him to prevent him from doing that, but it's over now. We have to carry him and get out of here." Naruto nodded. He was going to go and pick up Sasuke, but a voice interrupted him. "I'm afraid I shouldn't let you do that." From a vortex appeared Toby, or as Itachi knew him, Madara Uchiha. Naruto stepped back and Madara grabbed Sasuke. Itachi wanted to go but couldn't move because he was very exhausted and low on chakra reserves. Madara looked at him and said, "I see another Akatsuki traitor. First it was Pain and Conan, now you Itachi. I thought Sasuke killed you. I wanted to take your corpse with me, but I see that won't be the case. Now you're allied with the Kyuubi's Jinchuriki, which proves your betrayal." Madara looked at Naruto and said, "Naruto Uzumaki, you're really a nuisance to my plans. You've interfered twice and I've had to delay everything because of you." Naruto smiled at that, saying, "Too bad, Madara, I'll tell you this, you won't get the Kyuubi so you can forget your pathetic plan. I'll stop you and that aloe vera will see that it's hidden." Zetsu came out of the apartment saying, "Aloe vera? I don't understand that." The white half said, To which the black half replied, "Ignore it, although I'm surprised you can sense me. I see I won't be able to get close to you or I'll be lost. Madara, you already have your pawn. Let's go." Madara nodded, and Itachi, seeing that they wanted to leave, said, "No, I won't let you take Sasuke. He won't be your pawn to use." Madara smiled beneath his mask at that, saying, "Itachi, you must know this, you no longer belong to Akatsuki, so our deal ends here. The next time we meet, we will be enemies, and you, the Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi, your bijou will belong to me, and then you will die." Naruto smiled and said, "I'll wait for you then, Madara. Let me tell you this. My name is Naruto Namikaze Uzumaki. I am the son of the 4th Hokage and Kushina Uzumaki. Don't forget that. And I also remember you calling someone Bakakashi? Or am I mistaken?" With his characteristic smile, Madara said that, opening his one visible eye and then smiling from under his mask, saying, "Interesting, very interesting, Naruto Namikaze Uzumaki. The day I have you in my hands will be the moment of your downfall. Zetsu, you already destroyed all the information you had in Amigakure, and you took away Itachi's 2 other companions and Sasuke's." Zetsu nodded, saying, "It's done, now let's go." Murata nodded and he left through a vortex and Zetsu sank into the earth. Itachi could only watch as they took Sasuke away. Naruto said when he saw it, "Don't worry, Itachi. We'll get him soon and rescue Sasuke. That's a promise, Databeo." Itachi nodded. Naruto used his chakra perception to see if he could sense Zetsu nearby. When he saw that he couldn't, he sighed, but he felt chakra signatures approaching. It was his teammates. They were already close, so he sighed again, saying, "Itachi will have company, so leave it to me, I'll deal with them." Itachi nodded, and then Team Naruto, Kakashi, and Guy appeared. Kakashi, seeing him next to Itachi, said, "Naruto, I don't know what's going on, but we need to get back to the village. I see you're with Itachi. Finish this once and for all and let's go." Naruto nodded, saying, "I know, but I won't finish with Itachi. I know you have questions, but that will have to wait. For now, you will be the ones returning to Konoha. I must go see Aerosin first, and from there I will go with him to the village." Kakashi was about to speak, but Naruto accessed his 6 paths sage mode. Those who saw them were amazed at this, even more so because their appearance and Rinnegan were different. Seeing them lost, Naruto said, "Explanations for later, now you must leave, but before." Naruto pointed his 6 paths staff where they and everyone glowed green. Everyone recovered their lost chakra. Even those who were unconscious woke up. Then he hit his staff on the ground and Hinata appeared by his side. Then he said, "Now go to Konoha. Then I and Hinataheim will go with me." Kakashi was about to speak again, but Naruto struck the ground twice with his staff, and the entire Konoha team disappeared in a yellow flash. Naruto sighed at that. He knew he had to explain now, so he didn't care. Itachi looked at him, astonished, and said, "Naruto, seriously, how did you get that power? That even surpasses pain." "Wait, you were the one who defeated pain, that's why Madara was uneasy." Naruto smiled and said, "It's a bit difficult to explain, but we'll do it somewhere else. Let's go where the others are. And by the way, Hinata, this is Itachi, an ally of ours. He was my informant all this time, and now Itachi will heal you." Hinata greeted Itachi, to which he responded in kind. Then Naruto touched Itachi's forehead with his staff and was surrounded by a green aura. When it was over, Itachi was able to stand up. Then Naruto said, "It's time. Let's go. It will be dark soon, and I want to sleep at home tonight." Tapping his cane twice, they vanished in a yellow flash. In Konoha, Kakashi and the others were dizzy from the sudden trip like that. They saw that they were on the balcony of the Hokage Tower and Tsunade was there getting fresh air. Seeing them, she was a little surprised, saying, "What? How did you get here like this? Let me guess, Naruto isn't like this. Where is he? I'll give him a beating for leaving you like this." Kakashi stepped forward and said, "Yes, it was Naruto who brought us here. But there's something else we need to report. Apparently, Naruto has a new transformation, since he brought us here with just his staff. We should also mention that the search for Sasuke Uchiha was a failure, although I think Naruto has more information about that. Even though he was with Itachi Uchiha, I suppose he fought him and won. He said he was going somewhere else with Jiraiya-sama, so I imagine he must be with him now. He also took Hinata with him. I imagine he'll explain many things to her. He also told us that when he comes back with Jiraiya-sama, He'll explain everything that happened. Tsunade grabbed her chair and threw it off the balcony. It sounded like it hit someone. Then she said, "Damn that arrogant brat. He may be the village hero, but that doesn't give him the right to act like that. When I get my hands on him, I'll give him the beating of his life. Thanks for the report, Kakashi. Everyone can go rest now. The time is indefinite until I say so. Now go, I need to think for a while." They all nodded and immediately left. They didn't want to be there in the face of the Hokage's fury. Tsunade sighed, thinking, "Where the hell are you, Naruto? I expect you to give me a good explanation of this or I'll send you back to the academy." Well, time to call Sarutobi-sensei to help me with this. With that in mind, he went back to his office. With Naruto, through a yellow flash, Naruto appeared with Itachi and Hinata in front of Jeriah, Nagato, and Conan. They were surprised to see Itachi, although Itachi was the most surprised. In front of him were Conan and the supposed pain. Naruto approached, saying, "Aerosin, I returned and brought company. Itachi, Uchiha, and my future wife Hinata." Jeriah stood up and touched Hinata's shoulder, saying, "Wow, when I first found out I didn't think it was true. But now I see it's all true. I hope my godson doesn't cause you too much trouble." Hinata shook her head. "Don't worry, Jiraiya-sama. I know what he's like so I can handle it." Jeriah smiled at that, and Naruto commented, "Well, Hinata-heim, these are Conan and Nagato. They will be new companions in Konoha." Hinata greeted them both, and they returned the greeting. Now, seeing that everything was calm, Naruto decided to speak. It was time to give them their memories they would have until they died, except for Hinata, who would only remember until she was trapped in the infinite Tsukuyomi, in addition to Naruto's own memories of his knowledge of everything. Getting ready, he said, "I want you to pay attention. What I'm about to say is very important. Now I'll tell you all about why I have this power, why I know what happened before. That's because I went back in time thanks to the Sage of the Six Paths. But to understand this you must see it for yourselves." Tapping his cane on the ground, he circled those present. Then he said, "Fuinjutsu Uzumaki. Restoration of the mind." The kanji shown on each one. Everyone had a headache. First it was Itachi. Itachi remembered many things, his first encounter with Sasuke, then his encounter with Naruto and how he gave him Shirisue's eye, then his confrontation with Sasuke, his death at the hands of his brother, then being revived through the Edo Tensei, his encounter again with Naruto, then his last encounter with Sasuke where they faced Kabuto, then the release of the Edo Tensei and where he said goodbye to Sasuke. Now he looked at Naruto's memories. How the Fourth Shinobi World War began because of Madara and Obito Uchiha, the resurrection of the Ten Tails, the encounter with the Sage of Six Paths, the confrontation against Kagaya Otsutsuki and Sasuke's death at the hands of the goddess, where he gives his Rinnegan to Naruto and the Sage of Six Paths reverses time. The same thing happened to Hinata. How she met Naruto, her embarrassment towards him, then her fight against Neji, how she learned of Naruto's 3-year journey, and also of his return, then her search for Sasuke, then the destruction of Konoha, how she went to save Naruto who was trapped by pain, how she was defeated, then how Naruto returned as the hero of the village, then the beginning of the Fourth Shinobi World War and how she was trapped by the infinite Tsukuyomi and then saw the same thing as Itachi. Conan saw how she and Nagato faced Jeriah, then her departure to Konoha, then the conversation between Naruto and Nagato, then her confrontation with Madara and losing to him and dying, then she visualized the same memories as Hinata and Itachi. Nagato watched as he faced Jeriah, killed him, his journey to Konoha and how he destroyed it, then his defeat against Naruto, his conversation with him and how he used the Rinne Tensei to revive everyone who died, then his death, then he saw how he was revived by the Edo Tensei, his fight against Naruto again and his defeat against Itachi, then he visualized the same as Itachi, Hinata, and Conan. Jeriah watched how it all began. His first encounter with Naruto, his training, then his 3-year training journey where he only taught him about controlling the Kyuubi's chakra, manners, and other basic skills. In retrospect, he learned nothing in those 3 years. Then he watched his departure for Amigakure, his death at the hands of pain. From there, he watched Naruto's memories, his sage mode training with Fukasaku on Mount Myaboku, his confrontation with pain, his loss of control over the Nine Tails, his encounter with Minato to stop Naruto, Pain's defeat and their conversation, his return to Konoha as the village hero, his training to control the Nine Tails chakra, and his meeting with Kushina. Then he watched the rest like everyone else. Naruto, seeing that the glow of the kanji had ended, asked, "How are you feeling? Can someone tell me?" I didn't finish because Hinata hugged him, saying, "Naruto-kun, I saw everything. I must say I'm very proud of you. I'm sorry for not helping you sooner. If I had, maybe." Naruto hugged Hinata, saying, "Don't worry, Hinata-heim. That's all in the past and this is the new present. I will fight to ensure that that future never happens again." Itachi was the next one to approach, saying, "I don't know what to say, but what I will say is thank you for taking care of Sasuke. I know he died in that fight, but still, as you said, this is the new present, so we must fight to prevent all of that. I will help you in any way I can." Naruto nodded in agreement with that. Nagato and Conan were the next to arrive. It was Nagato who spoke first. "Naruto, I must tell you that it was a wise decision to leave the future in your hands. I don't regret it, nor will I ever. Now that I know the truth, I will help you in any way I can. Furthermore, now we can build a better future." Naruto nodded and Conan was next to speak. "Naruto, now I see everything. I really did lose my fight against Madara, but I want you to know that as Nagato, I will help you in any way I can." Naruto nodded and finally Jeriah stood beside him, touching his shoulder and saying, "Naruto, now I understand everything, how you know about your heritage, how you knew the jutsus, and now I can say I'm sorry. On that training journey, I didn't teach you anything, but even so, you grew a lot and knew how to do everything without problems. I know that in that timeline I died, but even so, I've seen your fights, so what I can say now is that I'm proud of you. Never forget that." Naruto nodded, shedding a tear as he said, "Thank you, Aerosin. For now, I want you to know that this is our new present and I will fight so that we can live in peace. That is my promise, Databeo." With that said, Naruto smiled, knowing that things were going to be very different now. Then he said, "Let's go to the other citizens of Amigakure. Conan, please take charge of speaking." Conan nodded and Jeriah commented, "Naruto, do you think you can send me and Nagato to Amigakure? There's information there about Danzo and his crimes. With that, we can confront him and stop him once and for all." Naruto shook his head, saying, "No, it won't be possible since Madara destroyed everything. Before coming here, he said he sent Zetsu to Amigakure to destroy everything. So going there would be useless. They won't find anything." Jeriah sighed and nodded. Then they went to where all the citizens of Amigakure were. Naruto snapped his fingers and the infinite Tsukuyomi applied to them disappeared. All the citizens were confused until Conan spoke. "Citizens of Amigakure, I know you must be confused, so let me explain. Our city was invaded, and we were forced to leave since we all likely would have perished there. However, we still have a chance. We can all go live in Konoha. There, you can resume your lives in peace. There will be no more rain. It will be like other places. Now tell me, do you want to come and live in a better place? Or do you wish to return to Amigakure, where you can continue living, but you will no longer have the protection you once had? Both your leader, Nagato, and I will go there. The decision is yours." Everyone raised their hands in confirmation. Conan knew there were at least 2,000 citizens among them. Then she looked at Naruto and said, "It's done. Now how will we get there? Traveling on foot would be very unusual." Naruto gave his foxy grin, saying, "Leave it to me. I'll send us near Konoha. Aerosin, send a message to Bachan and tell her to wait for us at the gates of Konoha. I would do it myself, but I left my communicator somewhere else, so do it now so we can move everyone." Jeriah nodded, took out the communicator and began sending a message to Tsunade. When he finished, he said, "That's it, we can go." Naruto nodded and, striking his staff on the ground 3 times, everyone left the place in a yellow flash. The wooden houses disappeared. In Konoha minutes before. "Calm down, Tsunade. I'm sure Naruto-kun has an explanation for that. I know he'll come and explain it any minute now." Toby commented, and Tsunade was still annoyed, saying, "Oh, that brat will have to give me a perfect excuse to tell me why he did what he did. Now I just want him to show up and then I'll put him on his knees to make him talk." As she spoke, the communicator began to glow. Tsunade, seeing this, opened it and read the message. "Tsunade-heim, come to the gates of Konoha. You need to be there. I'm arriving with Naruto and some other people, so I need you to be ready to receive your new residents." Tsunade smiled and said, "Toby-sensei, let's go to the entrances of Konoha. They'll be there. Toby nodded, and they went to where they would meet them. Tsunade stood at the gates of Konoha, preparing her fists to strike someone. In the distance, she saw Naruto, Jeriah, and two others she didn't recognize, except for one she did know, Itachi Uchiha. She didn't do anything yet, as he was probably a prisoner, but what surprised her most were those behind them. Many civilians were with them. When they reached the gate, it was Jeriah who spoke. "Hello, Tsunade. This is the great Jeriah arriving from a long mission." He was doing his usual dance when Tsunade interrupted him by hitting him on the head, causing him to fall to the floor. Then she looked at Naruto and saw that something was different. He was a normal person, without any of the animal features he had. What surprised her most were his eyes. They were the same as always, his sky-blue eyes. Then she said, "Naruto, there are many things you need to explain. So first, why are you here with Itachi Uchiha, and who are those two? They seem familiar." Naruto smiled and said, "First I will get Aerosin out of the hole." Naruto bent down and pulled Jeriah out, who was buried, then composed himself saying, "Tsunade, you're still the same as always. Well, I'll begin now. First, I need you to register all of them. They are new citizens of Konoha. From there, we'll go to your office and talk there." Tsunade nodded, saying, "Okay, I'll do it. Sumo Kotetsu, you have work to do. Get to work, you won't leave until you're finished." Both Chunin sighed and nodded. Then Naruto said, "Hinata, I'll be busy now. Genta, take her home and then go home yourself. I'll come later." Genta nodded, stood next to Hinata, and she climbed onto his back. From there they left. When he saw that both Chunin were working, he said, "Okay, let's go then. I've already located my marker. Everyone touch my shoulder and we'll go immediately." Nodding, they touched Naruto's shoulder and left in a yellow flash. Hokage's office. Tsunade was already seated in her chair. Toby was beside her, and Jeriah was the one who began to speak. "Well, Tsunade, first of all, I hope you're ready to pay up on the bet. I bet you received my message that I sent via the item transporter." Tsunade didn't say anything yet, and Jeriah continued, "Okay, now I'll tell you everything. There in Amigakure, I encountered the leader of Akatsuki. I fought him, but I lost. I almost died. It was thanks to Naruto that I survived. He fought for me, defeating the Akatsuki leader, who, by the way, I'll introduce you to. He's Nagato. You remember them. This is Conan and Yahiko. Well, he died years ago. Nagato was the leader of Akatsuki, and Naruto defeated him. He managed to bring him to his senses, and now he wants to help to atone for his sins. And this is Conan. She was also with Nagato. She also wants to atone for her sins. That's why I want you to allow them to stay in Konoha. I know they can help with anything." Tsunade looked at him and said, "Jeriah, you know what you're asking me. I accept the civilians who came, but they tried to kill you. Why should I welcome them with open arms?" Jeriah responded upon hearing this, "Calm down, Tsunade. As I told you, they want to atone for their sins. They won't do anything to harm Konoha, so you don't have to worry. Besides, that time they almost killed me is in the past, Tsunade. Trust me, and they'll prove to you that they can be trustworthy people." Tsunade was going to protest, but it was Naruto who spoke up. "Grandma, I can assure you they won't do anything against Konoha or anyone here. I fought him, I've beaten him, and besides, they're no longer part of Akatsuki, so you don't need to worry about anything. I trust them, they trust me, I know they'll do the right thing. We also have information on all the current members of Akatsuki, don't we, Aerosin?" Jeriah smiled and nodded, saying, "Of course, they provided us with the necessary information. Now, as I said, they won't do anything. Besides, there's a greater danger. Uchiha Madara is alive, and he's the one who wants the tailed beasts to create a weapon of destruction that threatens everyone. We don't know where he is now, but what I do know is that, for now, because he lost pain, we've slowed down his plans. What do you say?" Upon hearing them both, Tsunade nodded, saying, "Okay, I allow it. Even so, Naruto, you'll take care of them until I see they're trustworthy." "Well, that's one matter closed. Now, Naruto, I thank you for saving Jeriah from danger, but I want to know about him and why you left your team adrift. Explain yourself." Naruto nodded, then said, Okay, in order, first I encountered a very strong Akatsuki member who could control the earth without hand seals. I managed to defeat him and had a bad feeling. I left a message for the group, and with that, I set off for Amigakure. When I arrived, I saw Aerosin with multiple wounds. I quickly healed him as much as I could and let Genta take him. From there, I faced pain with this. Naruto accessed his 6-path Sage mode. Although there was a big difference from before, Tsunade and Sarutobi saw the change, didn't ask, and Naruto continued talking. Thanks to my newfound chi power, I was able to access this new mode. I accepted who I will be from now on, so I no longer doubt myself. When I defeated Pain, I went to talk to Nagato. When I finished speaking with him, he understood everything, and that's where the fight ended. But Black Zetsu appeared and took the Rinnegan eyes from the one who had them and escaped with them. Then I healed him and took everyone to where Aerosin was. I left them in his care and I went to Itachi. There, he confronted Sasuke. By the way, I'll talk to you now, but first I'll finish my report. Itachi told Sasuke the truth about the Uchiha clan massacre, but he didn't take it well. He decided to kill the 3 advisors responsible for the massacre: Hamura, Koharu, and Danzo. He wants revenge against them because they used Itachi just to kill all the Uchiha. When Itachi won, I approached to help him and bring Sasuke back, but the masked man who was Madara Uchiha called him and took him away. I couldn't do anything at that moment, so I helped Itachi and went to Aerosin. From there, I used my power to bring everyone here, and that's all. Tsunade was processing everything. First, Naruto's form. Second, how he managed to stop another guy who had the Rinnegan like him. Third, he went to Itachi to help him. Fourth, the self-proclaimed man Madara Uchiha. And fifth, the Uchiha massacre. She looked at Sarutobi and said, "Sarutobi-sensei, who knows about the Uchiha massacre? Tell me right now, I want to know all about it." Sarutobi sighed. He knew this topic would come up eventually, so he decided to speak. Well, I'll tell you, first of all, the Uchiha massacre was not orchestrated by me. As Naruto-kun said, it was the advisors who did it. I still remember all that well. Flashback. Sarutobi went with his umbu towards the Uchiha compound. He knew that after the conversation with Itachi, he had to resolve many things now. But first he had to go for Itachi's younger brother, Sasuke Uchiha. He arrived at the house of the leader of the Uchiha clan, ordered his umbu to search everything. A few minutes passed and he did not approach, saying, "Hokage-sama, we have found Sasuke Uchiha. He is unconscious but alive." Sarutobi nodded and ordered that he be taken to the hospital. But the umbu continued. "We have also found another person alive. Barely, but if they receive care now they can live." Sarutobi said in amazement, "Take me there right now, I want to see who it is." The umbu nodded and led Sarutobi inside where Sasuke had been. When he entered, he saw an umbu applying first aid to a particular person. "I can't believe it. She survived even with that wound in her chest. Quickly take her carefully to the hospital. Tell the doctors it's an emergency and they must prioritize her well-being." The umbu nodded and took the victim away. Sarutobi sighed, thinking, "It seems fate willed that this poor soul should not yet go to the pure world. I will make sure that he is all right now to find those 3. With that thought, Sarutobi mobilized his umbu to go directly to find the 3 advisors. When he arrived, he found the 3 of them talking. Sarutobi frowned, saying, "Today is the last time I will allow you to act behind my back. Many innocent lives were lost today. I was already planning something to fix this, and you acted without consulting me. I remind you that I am the Hokage. You cannot act without my consent in anything that involves the village. Now, what do you have to say to me?" Danzo was the one who spoke. "Hiruzen, understand this. If it wasn't done, they might have taken control. It was better this way. With this, the safety of the village is secure." Sarutobi grew more annoyed with the old warhawk, who said, "First of all, I am your Hokage and you will address me as your superior. Second, I have decided that today root ceases to exist, so I want a report of all root ANBU in my office. Third, this will be the last time you do anything behind my back, and that includes you too, Hamura and Koharu. If you do it again, you will be executed for treason. Do you understand?" Danzo clenched his fist tightly, nodded, and the other 2 did too. Then Sarutobi left the place. With that said, he went to the hospital to check on the survivor's condition. Konoha Hospital. Toby was outside the operating room when the doctor came out. He saw the Hokage, approached him and said, "Hokage-sama, we have attended to the patient. His condition is critical. He lost a lot of blood, his lungs are also destroyed, and part of his heart is still damaged but still beating. I'm sorry, but he is in a coma and we don't know when he will wake up." Toby nodded. Then he thought, "I wish I could do more, but this is all I can do. For now, I'll keep it a secret so she's not in danger." Well, now let's talk about the Uchiha. With that said, he went to the office to do the paperwork. End of flashback. That's all. Since it happened a while ago, there's not much that can be done now. Itachi, I know you were forced and I understand that you're upset, but I still hope you understand the situation I was in at that time. Itachi nodded, saying, "Don't worry, Sandame-sama. But who survived? Do you think I could go and see who survived?" Toby nodded, saying, "Yes, I'll take you there tomorrow if you'd like. What I can say now is that she's still in a coma, 8 years in a coma, but she's still breathing. You'll see her tomorrow, so don't worry. I can only tell you that she's someone very close to you, Sasuke." Itachi nodded, and Tsunade, upon hearing everything, said, "Because I wasn't told about any of this before, Sensei, maybe I can go and examine her, maybe I can make her wake up." Toby shook his head, saying, "No matter how hard you try, you won't be able to. Your medical jutsus can't regenerate organs, so that's why he's still in a coma. He's missing vital organs, but his heart doesn't give up and he's still breathing. What I do know is that maybe Naruto-kun can do something." Naruto nodded, saying, "Sure, I'll come here early tomorrow to go see her, and you can stay at my house. It's very big, and you can train there. And Itachi, don't worry, whoever that person is, I'll heal them." Itachi nodded in comment. "Thank you, Naruto-kun. I know I can trust you." Naruto nodded and Tsunade commented, "Wait, they still haven't told me why Itachi is here. I need to know before I make a decision." Naruto forgot to tell her, so he said, "I forgot, Itachi is my spy. A while ago, when we went to look for you, I ran into him. We made a deal, and that's how he became my spy. He gave me information about Akatsuki and their movements, which is why I knew their abilities and weaknesses. Also, now that Nagato is here, I imagine he told Aerosin and everything, so he'll give you the report on Akatsuki." Tsunade nodded, looking at Itachi and saying, "Okay, you can stay. When 3 months have passed and it's clear that you've really changed, you can return to the ranks of Konoha." I look at Nagato and Conan saying, "The same goes for you too and Jeriah. Tomorrow I want the report on all of Akatsuki and Naruto. Thanks for everything." Naruto nodded, gave her his characteristic smile and said, "You're welcome, Bachan. Now I'll go with my new friends and Aerosin is coming with me. I need to talk to him about something important." Having said that, she struck her staff on the ground and they all vanished in a yellow flash. Tsunade and Sarutobi were astonished by this. Then she said, "I don't really know if that boy has any limits or not, but I do know this. With what he did today, he has my approval to be the next Hokage. What do you say, Sensei?" Sarutobi nodded and Tsunade leaned back in her chair thinking about the future. Unknown location. So the Kyuubi Jinchuriki wants to play, then we'll play. Sasuke is still asleep and I don't think he'll wake up. Zetsu, tell me, did you get him? Zetsu left the floor saying, "Yes, here he is, the Genjutsu Master Aduki with whom we fill Itachi's position. Now tell me what we will do now." Madara thought for a moment and said, "Nothing, Sasuke can't do anything for now. They removed the cursed seal, so he's just recovering his chakra, and his coils need to heal from the seal's removal. That will take 4 months, and our new toy is still training her Rinnegan abilities. During these 4 months, we'll focus on raising funds. When she's ready, they'll attack Konoha, except for Kisame. I have something else planned for him. So, as I said, we'll wait. There's no rush. Sasuke will be in charge of bringing the 8 Tails. After they attack Konoha, they'll bring me the 9 Tails Jinchuriki, and we'll begin the extraction. Now we just wait for the right moment." Konoha night. Naruto and Jeriah were walking. First they practiced many things. Then after giving him the memory of the future, Jeriah knew that he had to be there for Naruto. So he decided to stay in Konoha for an indefinite time, all to be able to spend time with his godson. Naruto enjoyed his walk with Jeriah. They both went to a bench that was illuminated by a lamppost. There they sat and began to talk. "Naruto, I know all this is new to me, but I must say thank you for saving me. That moment when I saw you arrive, I thought you would fall too, but it wasn't so. You really are like your father, very quick at everything," Jeriah said, to which Naruto gave him his foxy smile, saying, "Thank you, Aerosin. Couldn't let you fall again. I want you to see me become Hokage, and I also want you to be at my wedding as if you were my father. Do you think you can do that?" Jeriah smiled and nodded, saying, "Of course, it would be an honor for me, you're my godson after all, and besides, I know Minato and Kushina would be happy to know that you'll be getting married soon. Here, let's eat this." Jeriah took out an ice cream popsicle, the same one Naruto had once before. He remembered how he had learned of Jiraiya's death, how depressed he had been, and how his former teacher Irika had helped him regain his spirits. Naruto shed a tear at that moment as he remembered all that. Jeriah, seeing this, said, "What's wrong, Naruto? Did something happen?" Naruto shook his head, saying, "No, nothing. I just remembered this moment. You had died by then, I was very depressed, and it was thanks to Irika-sensei that I was able to move forward, and now we are here, sitting in the same place." Upon hearing this, Jeriah said, "I understand. I know it was all frustrating. But now, as you said, this is our present and we can enjoy it." Naruto nodded, wiped away his tear, and grabbed the ice cream, saying, "Thank you, Aerosin, and yes, this is our new present and we will fight for a better future." With that said, they began to eat their ice creams. Naruto knew that everything was different now and he didn't regret anything. The next day, Konoha Academy. Irika Amino was walking to his classroom, thinking, "It's been a while since I've seen Naruto. I think I'll go see him after class. Besides, it's been a while since we shared a bowl of ramen like we used to. It'll be perfect for us to talk in peace and catch up on everything. Even though I know he's the village hero now, that doesn't mean he'll forget his old sensei. Also, I should see if he's ready for his wedding. I don't want him to ruin it, and it's best to avoid that." Irika wanted to visit Naruto, but because he was very busy with missions he couldn't. Now that he knows Naruto is free, he plans to go see him and catch up on everything. Hokage Tower underground. Sarutobi, Itachi, Tsunade, Jeriah, and Naruto descended to the deepest part to see the surviving Uchiha. On the way, Sarutobi said, "We moved it here to cover it up. Even so, it was quite difficult to make the move, but we managed it. We're about to arrive, so get ready." Sarutobi opened the door and there was a stretcher. Many machines connected to a person who could not be seen because of the curtains. Everyone approached and Sarutobi slid the curtains aside. Itachi was surprised to see who it was. Tears came out of his eyes as he recognized that person. "So you lived? I'm so glad, Naruto-kun, please." Naruto nodded. He knew what to do. He didn't know who the person was, but if they were important to Itachi, he would help them. He entered his Six Paths Sage mode, placed his staff on the person's forehead, and began to restore their entire body. To be continued.